The train headed for Sunset City will be departing soon.
Hey there, everyone, and welcome back to Sunset City, a Sonic podcast for the modern and classic age. Here with me, I have an incredibly grouchy old man, Nick, the game apologist. Our resident zombie we opted not to shoot in the head for some reason, Wayne is boss.
You should have killed me when you had the chance.
And last, B theory enthusiast, Channel Pup. A random grunt. Well, fine. I didn't want to talk with you either. Damn. Anyways,
how's everyone just reacting to that? I literally did the same thing.
Well, yes, but I expected it from you.
That's fair.
Your grouchy old man, noises.
The thing that got me was that it was in such a short burst that for a split second I thought it was a dog barking, and it was just very appropriate.
Oh my god, we're not going to get into whether or not we can get Pup to woof on stream.
Get you to ooh on stream, apparently.
Oh my fucking god, no. 50,000 channel points. Who saves that much? Anyways, so thank you all for being here with us again today on our 20th episode of Sunset City. I'm surprised we honestly made it this far. We all kind of hate each other behind the scenes. I'm kidding. We don't actually.
No.
But today we decided that for the big 20, this arbitrary number, we are going to talk a little bit about Sonic news. Still, there's a little bit of stuff to go over, but we wanted to focus on something that we don't really do a whole lot. I know a lot of times we tear down Sonic games for things that we don't like about them, and our community's done a really good job at ripping apart every game in this franchise they don't like. So we decided that instead of doing that today, we're going to try to go for a more positive spin. Actually propose what would we like individually from the Sonic franchise as far as video games are concerned going forward. I know all of us have different tastes, so we're probably going to have wildly different opinions. So we've also instigated another rule. We don't shoot down anybody's opinions during this particular episode. We will have discussions. This is not going to be just a say your thing and everything's fine, but we will have discussions about the various things we want to talk about, the various games we want to propose, but we're not going to immediately step on anybody else's throat.
I swear to God.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh man.
So let's I'd say let's get some of our news out of the way here, because there's not a lot, but like it all dropped, I think, like if not this morning, then yesterday. There are a couple new things for us to I'd say the most immediate one would be I guess the orchestral rendition of Starlight Zone played at the opening of the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games.
And they played a lot of video game music at the
I
Olympics.
think video game music was kind of like the theme they were going for the soundtrack, at least in that stage of it anyway. And I think it played during the Netherlands' little parade moment, which is cool because I like the Netherlands and I like Sonic. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they're trying to distract people.
I mean, to be fair, there's a lot to be distracted from at the moment.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I did have to text one of my friends from work because they played something from Nier Automata, and
Yeah.
I was just like, oh shit. I did not really watch the Olympics, but I saw like someone had shared a clip of like it playing, and I was just like, oh, all right, at least let him know about that. He'll think that's neat.
No,
I mean, that's
there you go.
So
I'm looking at these because we just basically took all of our news from Tails channel because they've been posting like crazy these last couple days. I'm looking at the Colors Ultimate update, and I'm literally not seeing anything we did not talk about 2 weeks ago. Like they're saying Rival Rush. Give you an example. Rival Rush mode. It says players can go head to head with Metal Sonic in a new mode called Rival Rush, as previously explored in the official Spotlight. Players can unlock rewards by playing the new feature, and there's nothing else there.
Basically, we just got a teeny bit of new footage on it. Basically,
yeah.
like,
It's combing.
looks okay.
It's combing over every tiny detail of a remaster, and just scraping it, just like, all right, is there content here? Oh wow, we got a little skin off. Oops. But I mean,
Okay, but we do know what's going on with the icon thing. We do have confirmation on that. In addition, by purchasing player icon from the options, player can customize the character icon and the progress indicator. So it really is just a PNG situation, or a JPEG, I guess,
mhm.
because it just shows Tails and then it shows Shadow, and it's just their standard stock standing stuff. So
Yeah.
it really is just a picture in a corner. Is all that is.
Oh, fine.
Yeah, there's I think bluntly, I think we've seen just about everything we are going to see for this game.
Yeah, there's
I
going to be.
I agree with that. I think there's going to be very little surprises when we actually play it as well. Like,
Yeah.
let's be real.
But
it
to
is
be
a
honest,
remaster at the end of the day.
I say yeah. To be honest, like it's Sonic Colors though. Like really, did we? Surprises would have been nice, but at the same time, when we're getting a Sonic Colors remaster, there really wasn't going to be a whole lot they were going to do to it anyway. We already kind of knew that in the beginning when they said remaster, not remake. I'm okay with that. Like I'm not upset.
I guess one thing that would be quite a cool surprise to hold back on if they were doing this would be if they had like multiple playable character skins or something like that. But like, I don't think they're gonna do that. But like,
at most,
We'll
they'll
see
do
when
that
it
for
comes out.
At most, they'll do that for maybe DLC. But we'll have to see when it actually pops out. If it just ends up being the regular game with Rival Rush mode on top of it, I can at least say that the re-release is justified in the sense that outside of emulation, there is no way to play this game without having a Wii or a Wii U, and that's especially where the Wii U is concerned. That's not exactly a commodity most people have. So,
I am curious. I'm sorry.
You go on. You're fine.
I don't want to get too deep into this little rabbit hole discussion. I was gonna say I am curious to see how well it runs on the Switch, because after like Skyward Sword HD, and playing through that and having that run at a very consistent like 60 frames per second and everything, I'm a little more confident.
They've already ruled it out. Basically, they released the Nintendo Switch trailer for it, which was the same as the other trailer, but it didn't mention 60 frames per second or 4K. So it won't do 60 FPS or 4K.
Yep.
PS4 it is then.
Yep. I don't know if I'm going to be picking up my copy on Switch or PC. There's a part of me that wants to get it on Switch because, like, just having it on the Nintendo console, that's where I'm most comfortable. But at the same time, if the better version of it's going to be on PC, then I'm just going to get it on PC. Not to mention, unlike my Switch, my Steam library, it doesn't exactly require console updates.
But also, how fantastic is it going to be that whenever the Steam Deck comes out, we might have the best portable version of Sonic Colors?
Oh, that's fair.
Not untrue. Literally every argument for getting it on the Switch over the PC disappears at that point.
Yeah, I think the Switch deck is a really cool idea. I'm tempted. I'm not gonna lie. I think I'm prioritizing PS5 going forward, but like, I might keep that in mind anyway.
I've been waiting for as much as I love Nintendo, I've been waiting to see them get knocked down a peg. And I don't know that will immediately happen. They've had the inferior hardware that was more successful out before. Just look at the 3DS versus the Vita. But I just want Nintendo to have a reason to try harder again.
Yeah,
I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I can agree with that because like one of the biggest problems we have is that because they are the largest company in Japan. They're the most financially successful company in that country as of right now. They have no reason to do anything different than what they're doing right now, and that creates a huge problem for consumers where we're just like, okay, but we would like something other than $60 Skyward Sword HD. And Nintendo's like, nah, this is what you get. It's what you wanted.
The monkey's paw curls.
Just while we're between news subjects, shall we quickly just do these super chats here? So we've got Wildo in with 5 UK pounds. Pup told me to send money. Greetings from Scotland. P.S. Sonic Rush is a masterpiece. Thank you for your Scottish money, my Scottish friend from up north. I would agree that Sonic Rush Adventure is a masterpiece, but not Sonic Rush.
I like.
And
both.
then we've got Sonny in with the $6 $99 Canadian dollars, saying Zavok being the main character will fix the franchise. Believe it. Who can argue with that?
I'm going to be honest, I just suddenly got an idea in my head because of that, of a Zavok real-time strategy game where you're just controlling hordes of robots. And I don't hate the idea in my head.
Honestly, huh?
That's a thing to consider.
We'll save it for when we get to the concept section. We have got more news, though, haven't we? Just one more piece of small news.
That's what I've been reading right now. I'm trying to see if there's
Yeah.
anything we can parse from this. So that's why I'm being so quiet right now. So Tails channel also helped translate an interview with Takashi Iizuka about basically everything that we know is coming out, being Colors, Prime, Origins, and 2022. Even though I think the entire fan base agrees it's probably called Rangers. We'll see. Time to change it. They got time to change that name.
We did
There-
have that.
for-
We did have that tweet on top of that, though, that said that the Rangers announcement might have been shown a little too quickly.
I think
It's the same thing. It's people interpreting this interview and grabbing pieces from it. It's
Gotcha.
the same interview.
Yeah, like
it's
the
what would
whole
be, yeah.
the whole thing is he says it might have been a bit premature, but I get the feeling that it's maybe like they didn't want to pull a forces and advertise it over a year in advance again. But it's just like people needed to know that it was on the way, I guess. But I don't think that's going to necessarily have a bearing on the overall quality of the game. But at the same time, it's unpredictable. All I would say here in terms of the news is there's more news on the way. Basically.
No, there's a bit more.
Okay.
So they talk about Origins a little bit in here, and I found it a little interesting because this does remind me a little bit more of Sonic Jam than anything else. As we already know, they're not emulating the games. They're kind of building it from scratch, just using the code and jumping back in there. But he mentions specifically, because I'll just read the quote here. So the question is asked, why did you decide to port these games without using an emulator? Izuka responded, in general, emulator-based porting is easier to do. But since these are games that have been played for a lot of years, I would like to take this opportunity to revive them again on current hardware. With that feeling in mind, the team dared to try porting. Since it is in the early stages of production, there's not much I can talk about in detail, but since the games will not run in emulation, we can modify the games themselves. While faithfully reproducing the original, I would also like to add elements that make it easier for beginners to play, similar to Sonic Colors Ultimate. So,
I don't hate. I don't hate that.
Rest in peace, live system.
But I wanna know. What I would want to know is like what type of things they're wanting to implement. Because if they're wanting to do like a system where it's easier to restart a level, so like let's say you're playing Sonic 2 and you're on the second act of Metropolis Zone, and you're on your last life, and then you lose, and you're starting from the beginning all over again because you don't have any continues.
There will be a save. There's no two ways about it. There'll be a save.
Yeah, having a save system in a game like that, I don't see anything wrong with that. I wouldn't see a reason not to implement that, especially when
There should be, yeah.
Yeah, that would be like my biggest thing, is that if you're gonna redo those games, Sonic 1, Sonic 2 specifically, please give me a save system for those games. It's not like emulation, especially emulation via the Sega the VR system thing that's on Steam. The ability to just save state has helped so much in me replaying those games and not getting frustrated.
I don't know if they'll actually go in and modify much of the game. I mean, I guess I would welcome Sonic 1 with consistently good level design, if they want to go that far with it. But
At that point,
like,
it's not a port, that's a remake.
well, yeah, it depends. Because like I did a Pup Pitches episode in the past where I pitched doing like a full-on remake of the classic Sonic games, and like Sonic
Yeah.
1 was basically going to be completely from the ground up remade, effectively. And I would like to see something like that. It would just be interesting how they promote it, because right now I think everyone's of the understanding that it's like, this is the definitive Sonic collection. The games are pretty much as you remember them, but in widescreen and stuff like that. If they start really fucking around with it, I don't know what people are going to necessarily think of that, but like I think it's one of those things where it would be helpful to know sooner rather than later. I think one thing that is possible is I remember in the past, I think Takeshi Iizuka said that the Sega Ages ports of Sonic 1 and 2, they happily implemented things like the drop dash into those games, and that the new version will have even more features, not necessarily the same, but even more. So I get the feeling we're going to see things like the Insta Shield added to 1 and 2, maybe. The Super Peel Out, maybe, in all of the games. I mean, that said, Super Peel Out is kind of useless, but I don't know. Like, I guess we'll see, but I think it's going to be more like things like abilities for Sonic. Maybe they'll fix that stupid spike glitch from Sonic 1, things like that.
That's fair.
Yeah. Again, I'm waiting to see. I don't trust these guys in the slightest.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair,
I mean, he's just like the entire thing he's talking about is just like the entire thing for each one of these is just a fixation on getting new people into the franchise, which is fair. That's what they have to do. But it really does feel like we're trying to make this as easy as possible, which it's fine. We've had our quality of life updates with these games in the past, so I'm not super concerned about that front, but
I mean,
I don't know, man.
There is
I don't know.
Isn't Whitehead's team working on these ports though?
We literally have no idea who's working on it. There's no official
there's
word.
no actual evidence to say that Whitehead is on this. I think it would be smart, obviously, but I kind of think at the same time, not so much smart, but it would be stupid not to bring Whitehead on.
It'd be stupid not to have a Sonic Mania 2 right now. That's what it would be. It would be
I mean,
really
what
stupid.
I also heard was that like Origins is set to release around a similar time to the Sonic movie sequel. So that's going to be like the game that like Sonic fans can run over and get after seeing the movie. And I kind of think it's weird that they're using the classics to get new people on board, because that's going to give people a very outdated impression of what Sonic is.
No, those are the safest bets. Those are the consistently good ones.
Consistently good, yeah, but I don't know if they're going to necessarily be the right choice for little kids that just got out of the Sonic movie too.
It is, though. I mean, those were made for kids back in the day. They're still good enough for kids now. It's just a very safe bet. I'm not saying like that's the future of the franchise. I'm saying his entire fixation is getting children to play the video games, and he's using one of the easiest games and one of the most critically liked from his run, which is Colors, and he's using the same set of games that have been a safe, consistent bet for 30 years now. And that's, again, as someone who grew up with those games, I get that, and that's fine. But again, it's less likely for those of us who've been wanting, like, oh, maybe they'll have Chaotix or something in here. Like, it's not going to be a celebration of the legacy as much as it is going to be like, okay, here are these games again.
Here's the best version of these games we can make. Not here's the best version. Here's all the best stuff we can put into those.
I don't even know if it's that. I mean, like, I would hope so if they're going to the trouble of not just emulating it flat out.
I feel that that's the goal, but there's going to be some things that are polarizing in there if they're going out of their way to make it easier. Although,
I guess we have to see. Like, we can only speculate at this point.
If they said like we've made the slicers have a slight delay on their actions, then I'd be all game for that. But we've made it so you can dodge everything in Metropolis. if they made it so you can actually be good at Metropolis Zone, then yeah, I'd be game.
Well, here's the thing. Here, I want to move on to the next bit if you guys are okay with it, because again, we really only can speculate at this point. Yeah. And I know I'm leaning more negative as I tend to do with these guys, but I like Colors, and I certainly like the original game. So I'm very wait and see, but I just don't think Iizuka. I don't know, man. I just think he's just doing what he can. The poor guy. But Sonic Prime, we got a little bit of confirmation. I don't know if we had before. He actually talked about Boom. He referenced Boom in this interview.
Yay.
So I'll just read this on here again. Along with the 30th anniversary, collaborations inside and outside the games have been showcased with, it means Sonic Prime. As I mentioned earlier, Sonic fan community is very widespread, so I'd like to not only provide products to fans, but create opportunities for them to interact with Sonic from various angles. I think this anniversary is an opportunity for us to express our gratitude to the fans. However, again,
There's always a
we also
but.
came to the realization that we could deliver to those who have not yet interacted with the Sonic series. Again, I'm sorry, old school Sonic fans or your adventure era fans. Like you're not the focus. We're not the focus. It's fine. They're still for kids.
The logic
But,
is
like,
just eventually we're gonna die. They need new people.
this is why I kind of debate like the term meta era, and I had like a fantastic discussion with Jay a couple weeks ago actually, and I get why that term is used, but like this is why I would, if I had to do something outside of a boost era, I'd call it the Mario era, because this is
That's
like the most
worse. That's literally worse.
Yeah, but that's my point though. Like this is like the most diluted vanilla versions of these characters, the most palatable, most easy to understand. This is why you see Green Hill. This is why the characters are as one note as they are
This
these
is Sonic
days.
as safe as he can be.
This is
Yes.
Flanderized Sonic the Hedgehog.
Right. And I think, like, ironically enough, like the most character we get from him in the games now is Mania, because Tyson Hess and them are allowed to get more expressive with the animation. And yeah, I know it's comedic focus and some people get upset about it, but like that's it's a little refreshing because I've literally never laughed once during a Sonic game. And then the Mania stuff comes out and it's actually funny and fun and cute.
I just
I don't know. I'm getting off topic
Nick,
there.
you missed
I
the
don't know. I'm not saying I want to
BBBE.
I just want to hear what a fan of the new era would call it. Yeah,
I mean,
no.
I call it a boost, but I mean, when kids start growing up and they, discuss it for themselves, yeah, we'll see.
Maybe they won't even categorize it. Maybe they'll just be like,
Maybe
"Yeah,
they'll just have fun. Maybe they'll just enjoy a thing. Just let them
Maybe
enjoy
they'll
it.
be better than we are.
We're
with this.
not
Maybe
allowed
we'll
to
be
enjoy
bitter.
things, Nick. That's illegal.
Let's
I
take a
mean,
quick-
I don't like the vanillization of Sonic either. I don't think these games are as horrible.
the
I'm just
Zavok
like,
era.
I don't know. I'm also with people like, I would like to get a little more flavor with this hedgehog. But that's, again, we've had that discussion 1,000 times. Let's continue on with what I was trying to say about Prime before I distracted myself. So here's the thing. Where's the question at? Here it is. I was also surprised at the announcement of new animation. Can you tell us more about Sonic Prime? Zuka flat out talked about Sonic Boom here, just as a comparison. He was like, we plan to distribute it on Netflix in 2022. Sonic Boom featured a setting that was exclusive to the cartoon and some games. But this time, it will be based on modern Sonic from the games. Man of Action Entertainment, who has a lot of experience with the American animation process of directing it. So again, I don't know if we had it officially said flat out before, but this is full-on confirmation that while it might not be like game canon, it takes place in the game world.
Which is what I would like. That's what I was wanting to hear since Boom. Like, I've
But
always been kind of thinking it'd be good to have one set in the world of the game. I mean, X kind of counts, but like, you still got Chris in there.
well, see, here's a follow-up question that also featured Boom. Is there a possibility that it will be made into a game like Sonic Boom? And Azuka says, no plans at the moment. In the first place, Sonic Prime takes place on the same setting seen in the games and will feature modern Sonic. So I don't think it's necessary to do that now. So he's just flat out calling this version of the character Modern Sonic. So yeah, I know we have our fun topic to talk about there, but this does lead into a bigger discussion, which I think has been a problem for me for a little while, especially since we lost Archie, which is how do we define Sonic's world?
And now we have them confirming that modern Sonic has a specific world, which is at least more than we've gotten a few times in the last few years.
This could be good. This could be the kind of thing that helps contextualize the games a little bit. It won't change the fact that the writing in the games is kind of shit, but like it will at least give some background to enrich the games, maybe. So I'm on board with that.
I guess what I want to figure out is like how do we square that circle? How do we if they're ever going to bother, because I doubt they care anymore, just going by listening to Bumblecast, because if anyone's frustrated about like what happened with the adventure stuff and how does it take place now? It'd be Ian Flynn. He doesn't flat out, talk shit about Sega, but he just expressed his frustration in terms of, look, I know you guys keep asking me like about the canon. Like, I'm a fan. I've been asking, and while he doesn't give details, he's like, look, I give notes to Sega, and the Sega reps basically come back, and I'm like, well, look, no, we can do this because you guys did this before. So there's no reason I can't do it. And then they'll respond with, that's how it used to be, but that's not how it is anymore. And they just will change things because, again, like the continuity does not seem to matter so much anymore. Again, like this is just like, I don't know if it's Azuka, but whoever's in charge of Sonic, they'll get notes and be like, okay, no, do it this way, that way, this way, that way. And we don't actually get that. Again, this is why I have a problem with meta era, because we do see direct reaction to fan outcry and critical outcry. But at the same time, if they were so focused on the fans, I think Sonic Team would be a little bit more upfront with the canon and the lore and taking care of this legacy, I guess. But just the fixation on trying their best to cater to kids, as they should, but like bring in new fans, I don't think they're doing enough to take care of the fans that are already there. And I think that's a problem people have been having for the last 10 years. I think that's the actual issue, which is the games are okay, but they're very mid. And they've been very mid for a long time. And they want every one of these games to be like, it can be your first Sonic game. And it's just...
And honestly, not to get too drastic, but I honestly think that at a point, because I don't think anything is invincible, I think that there will come a time when, in order to survive, the Sonic series is going to have to embrace the fact that okay isn't good enough anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I'm being dismissive of like Sonic Generation specifically. And even like the Symphony, because like I feel like when they actually put in that effort, I think the fans really do unite when they do celebrate that entire legacy. I think most people really like Generations. Do we have our problems with it? Sure. But I think by and large, a lot of people really liked that game. And all of us were just like warm and fuzzies when we were done with the Symphony. I guess I'm being very, very harsh. Again, I feel like I'd just be a detractor for the sake of being a detractor, because I will still argue against the people that talk shit about the last decade of games. And in that same note, I'll be like, yeah, but I have issues with it too.
Yeah, well, there's a balance to be kept there.
And I think that's kind of why we're going to talk about our pitches, or our fan, what we want is for games.
If all of us were Christian Whitehead, this is what we would do.
Before we get to that, though, I would say just quickly check out some of the super chats that we've got.
Oh yeah,
I was gonna say that. Yeah,
nothing gets me talking like money.
Oh my god.
So, Akashodin sends $20. Says, just popped in to say I love you guys. We love you too, Akashodin. Can't wait to watch this episode after work. Yeah, pop back after work and listen to us acknowledge your super chat.
Yeah, thank you for the very generous donation there.
And next up, we have that Jordo, who sends $10 and says, quality of life features similar to Mania's no save options would be my guess. Spin dash toggle in Sonic 1, TV filters, 10-minute time limit toggles, Sonic's abilities, etc. That's what I would imagine.
Yeah, that's the stuff I'd.
But I don't want it to be like, you load up Sonic 1, you're in Green Hill, the game stops, Tails like, uh-oh, Sonic, there's a badnik in front of you, collect the rings! It's like, shut up, Tails. I don't think that's going to happen.
They're going to add Omo Chow to all the classic games.
Yes, do it. Just please let us. If you add Omo Chow, we have to be able to turn him off, and he needs to not be a default feature. He needs to be an unlockable. And as an unlockable, when he starts speaking, he needs to physically operate in the environment, almost like a badnik, so you can beat the shit out of him in 2D.
And if you don't hold down right enough or jump enough, he'll start carrying you through the level.
I was going to say, the game stops entirely. You can't move forward until he's done talking.
And if you're having a hard time, like in the Labyrinth boss, Omochao will literally come down and lift Sonic through the entire stage, and you'll be invincible. There's your new Sonic.
When you collect 100 rings.
When you collect 100 rings, you finish the game with all Chaos Emeralds.
I guess.
So
I mean, oh, I've just been like ruminating. Oh, and Jamal, dude, thank you. B Theory forever.
we've got more than that as well. But sorry, go on, Nick.
I'm sorry to jump in there. I guess that's how to best describe my concern for the Origins collection after reading that. I think that's my concern with colors is, I guess I'm okay with an easier time for new players if it's like an easy mode.
But you don't want it to be reductive of any of the game's actual content.
Exactly, and you've said that before. I think
as long as they're
Sonic
not
2
removing
did.
stuff.
Yeah, and what Sonic 2 did, like, yeah, it got challenging with water, but it became easier when you got better at the game to the point where you never had to see the water once. And I think rewarding good gameplay is important, and I'm very concerned about that. I don't want Origins to be an easier time with games that are already very easy for me. I'd like a new way to experience them, and I'd like it to be the best way to experience it, like widescreen, quality of life improvements, things we would expect at this point, but or Tails because just follows right behind Sonic in the special stages. I don't know, man. I just I get worried. I'm gonna read Casey's super chat too because he's the mod that takes care of my Discord server.
Sure.
He sent $5. Have some pizza money for the group. I've said this before, but you guys really do help some of my work days go by faster when the situation allows. Thanks, Casey, man. I appreciate it. And let's play some fucking video games soon if I can ever stop doing 50-hour work weeks.
So,
anyway,
Nick, you have to stop your
Space
work
Empire
weeks.
Space Empire sends $4.99. A little confusing one, this, but thank you for the super chat. Says, can you please update your podcast? You're 5 episodes behind. I'm not sure what we mean by that.
That's the Podbean.
I can. So, Podbean, and I can tell you exactly what's going on.
Right.
My computer has gotten to a point, and I don't know why it is with this, but I basically have to download our show directly from YouTube right now since we started doing the live stream, and it is not handling it well at all.
I've got like a brand new fresh like 2 terabyte hard drive that I just got so I could keep more footage. Do you need me to start archiving some of this?
If you don't mind, I could use some help until I get my laptop back up and running.
I can also assist.
Yeah, we can discuss that more later.
We'll talk about it later. But trust me, it's been on the front of my mind for right now. I'm lucky to get my videos out the way they are currently. My computer's having a rough go of it.
We'll assist.
Very sorry.
We'll sort it out. But thanks for the heads up, Space Empire.
Yeah, and I know you've been waiting for a while. I'm sorry, guys.
Next up, we have that Jordo with $5. Says, call it the BBBE era.
Yeah. Best bee beating ever.
Oh God, B Theory is real.
I'm gonna jump into a fucking spike pit. I'm telling you.
You made this monster. You're just upset now that we've all. This is why we shoot down everything you say, because then you get more enthusiastic over it. When we start adapting the things you say and liking them, then you start to hold umbrage with it.
Let me quickly just check my dictionary for the definition of bullying.
You want to have that conversation
Right, so...
after the shit I've seen you say to Wayne? You want that conversation?
You tell me to shut the fuck up every time I say something in our group chat.
And you are aggressively sexual with him.
I need him to know that he's...
Remember.
Oh my God.
Remember, Sunset City lore, there have been 3 formal meetings because of...
I was literally crying when I read that. I was laughing so hard.
No, because like you sent me that message like, Pup, we need to have a serious chat about you sending so many pornographic images to the group. And I was like, okay, make that meeting number 3 that is about me. Just added it to my chalkboard tally.
Like we've had one meeting about Wayne because he was dead and we had to discuss funeral proceedings.
I'm looking at some of these conversations here. This is interesting. I didn't know this. I guess I have to. I got only a little bit into the Gerard's Sonic video. You know how they're showing like fans and stuff like that, like talking about fans with millions of subscribers.
Yeah, where is us on that?
Well, the first two have over 1 million subscribers, so I can't imagine we're gonna be on.
Yeah, that's it. You just help get clout for those who've already got clout. Go on, Sega.
They're gonna be okay. That's fine. Don't worry. So he said, who wrote this? But they basically said that Gerard got away with calling Sonic's World Mobius on the. And I get like Sonic Team at Sega of Japan are not the same as the Sonic Twitter of America. I mean, there's important players in there, Aaron Weber, obviously, but yeah, I mean, I guess that tiny little bit is nice. Some sliver of acknowledgement of other fan bases that have long since been abandoned. And Three Monic also asked, "It went Chowmix, when you gonna get on these?" I've been bothering him. The guy's got to work, but as soon as we can get him on here, we're gonna get him on here. We love Chowmix. Also, I want to shout out his Sonic Drift video. He's just made a video about Sonic shoes for like half an hour, just out of pure spite from Twitter.
Don't spoil the ending for them the way you spoiled it for us, Nick.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
He's doing a tier list. I love how comprehensive it is. It is ridiculous. Like there are shoes in there I'd not heard of. But I think his overall point was like, no, bitch, this is all he wears. And he wears a lot of different shoes. I'm going to talk about it. It was amazing. Oh, man. That's good shit. Anyway, I'm sorry for rambling like a lunatic.
For that, you can go first with the Sonic concept idea.
Yep.
Mine is the most loosely based if you wanted me to do it. I really don't mind.
Dude, go
I
on,
mean,
shoot
yeah,
it.
I don't mind what order we go in. I just
I've
don't
got a
wanna go first.
I've got a fucking giant ass list in front of me. You do you.
I don't because I mean I've discussed this shit on exhausting detail, and there's enough in the Sonic franchise that I'm pretty okay with seeing new ideas. Because I think a lot of things with video games is we don't know what we want until we have it, kind of a situation. So I'm fine with like new ideas as long as they're well implemented. Because everything I kind of talk about is just kind of what I've already had before, but just reinterpreted. So, for instance, like the only thing I was really going to bring to the table was going to be momentum-based 3D platforming in an open space, which is something I've wanted forever. But I think if I'm like really and truly honest with myself, what would I actually want? Like the most selfish I could get from it, it would be what I pitched in that Knuckles video I did during my Chaotix run of things, which is like most fun I've had in video games is exploring environments. That is the most fun I have. I love that shit so much, and I would love to do that with an open world Angel Island starring Knuckles. If we could have the budget to make an open world game to fully explore this land that I've been in love with since I was a kid, and maybe unearth some more mysteries about it, and at the same time play a character I've had the most fun playing in all of the franchise, because I love the versatility of Knuckles.
I would love a new.
And I
take
really
on
do
Angel
think
Island.
if we were ever going to actually truly tackle 3D, I've always said tackle it with Knuckles. Sonic is great, but you still have to, and it's been the same since Sonic Adventure. And I know people like to debate what's the best 3D Sonic game, or is this more 2D than 3D, or what the hell ever. It is all the same concept. It is no more than Crash Bandicoot. It is point A to point B on a pretty linear path, as opposed to Mario, whereas, it turned into a completely different thing, whereas like the goal is these different objectives spread around the same map. It's about exploring and taking care of your environment and revisiting it over and over again and mastering these new mechanics you can do with 3D. I think Knuckles is the best candidate for something like that if we were to explore 3D. That's what I would want.
I mean, there's another thing there that's really cool to think about. If you think about Knuckles' his moveset, he's not that far off at a base level from what Breath of the Wild Link has, insofar as having the ability to climb, having the ability to glide and shit. It's not like he's not already adapted for that kind of environment based on his like basic power set.
Exactly. That, and I think playing Breath of the Wild as much as I have definitely made me think of it on that end of things, because what was important about that game for me was how you traverse a world like that. And going back to it, yeah, Knuckles is how I would tackle an open world. So that's my 2 cents. I wouldn't really add a whole lot, like I was gonna say like moves, downloadable moves, but like unlockable moves and stuff like that. Has some things here or there, but I would give him basically the same set of abilities at the start of the game, and just have the player learn to master them to the best of their ability. That's again a Zelda thing. They gave you everything you needed at the beginning there, but I can tell you, first dungeon, I had no idea what I was doing, and by the end of the game, I went back there and I was done with it in 3 minutes, just because I got that good with what was already given to me. So, yeah, I'd love to explore an ancient land and uncover more of that world with our boy Nux.
Yes. I
Sounds
agree.
badass to me. So, again, like I'm getting very much Breath of the Wild vibes from it, which I really like. But like,
Right,
with
and that's very selfish of me. If we're gonna be going like Breath of the Wild with Rangers, as we keep hearing, I want it to be Knuckles. I want it to be Knuckles.
at least make him playable. Like I think
Yeah.
Sega's sudden allergy to different playable characters, kind of
Well,
sad.
I mean, you could even just kind of have him like as part of like the main style of gameplay. You could kind of have it be between Sonic and Knuckles. Hey, you could call it Sonic and Knuckles. Wait,
You could call it Sonic and Knuckles 2. That'd be pretty badass.
I want to.
I'd have a full-on remake.
Knuckles and Sonic.
So I'm not going to get into mine yet, but I do want to piggyback off of Nick's thing just for a second, and I want to pitch something based on his idea, which is the idea of spin jumping off a cliff as Sonic and then swapping to Knuckles to glide long distances afterwards. Just
Kind of
just
like a
being
tag team kind of a thing.
yeah, just like being able to abuse both of their power sets. Like basically take the idea that Heroes wanted to give you, like, oh my god, you've got these three characters, you swap between their power sets all the time, but we had these like really underpowered versions of every character. They all felt watered down by the other ones. Just give us like Sonic using his spin dash jump from like Adventure 1, getting into like a ludicrous area, and then just swapping to Knuckles and just gliding your way somewhere to find like hidden shit everywhere.
You know
Sounds
what?
Badass.
I think that's how to remake Sonic Adventure. I think that's how I do it. I think I would probably remove a lot of the human element to it and focus up on Chaos and his relationship to Angel Island. No, it's controversial. Sorry, people, but I would I would probably, that's how I would do it. If I ever retold the story of Chaos, I would do it from the past and the future. Because I'm noticing people like, hey, I would like to know what happened between 4,000 years between Tikal's time and Knuckles' time. And that just kind of clicked something for me. I was like, dude, I would probably, that's how I would do it. Solving the problem of chaos in the past and present, sort of a thing. I don't know. Again, like, this is why we're just pitching ideas. Like, I don't have like a full like notes or anything in front of you guys. This is just me saying just random shit that comes to mind. And this is why I wanted to hear your feedback as well as our audience, because we're fans of this stuff for a reason, and we're just gonna keep piling up and make more fun out of it.
I really like the idea of a Knuckles spin-off kind of centered around like Angel Island lore. Like I really like that idea. And because at first I was like, wait a minute, we're pitching Sonic games, aren't we?
Shit out of it.
But yeah, no, you'd get sued as fuck. But I mean, you could make all new Echidna characters and stuff. And like also the idea of kind of doing that as a Sonic Adventure remake. I don't even think you'd have to do it as like a quintessentially Sonic Adventure remake. You could still make it its own thing, but sort of about the origins of Adventure, or like maybe make it even a prequel or something like that. I think people would be more than game for that. I would be, that's for sure. Quick note also, TXS sends us $2 Canadian.79. Thank you, TXS.
I think my gripe I would have as far as lore is concerned with Sonic Adventure, and this is not a major thing. Again, it's my second favorite Sonic game. I think my only like real issue with, in terms narrative wise, with any of this stuff, is I really like it when characters kind of take their own journey as opposed to a character that hops into their story, which is what Sonic's purpose is. Like, he hops into somebody else's story, and I think it works best when that character has changed on some level. Like, Sonic is just, he's a catalyst for that change, be it with Knuckles or Shadow. I think that's how he works in terms of a hero. When it comes to Chaos, and we could go into it a little bit deeper there at some point. I did have a problem with it not being more Knuckles centric, considering how Knuckles centric the history of all of that actually is.
Well,
I really would have liked to see Knuckles handle the past, and he's the one who has to wrap up the sins of his people's past situation. I think that would have been a very compelling narrative.
There should have
I'd
been
love that.
so many more interactions between like him and Tikal, and him like reconciling with everything that his people had done, maybe that he didn't even know about. And I guess like sort of in a you guys have seen Black Panther, right?
Yeah. Oh my God!
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Just I'll let
Yes,
you go
I
and
can.
just to say, I'll let you finish
I
just a
know what
second,
you're
Wayne.
doing.
But can you imagine
Yeah.
just like Knuckles having this like super proud idea of what his people were, and then just like having a conversation with Tikal and going, "Wait, they were monsters."
Exactly.
I want to.
Yeah, that's
wanna
exactly
s-
what I was thinking.
I
It would
want to
long
see that.
claw.
Yeah, because I was like I like that movie, but it wasn't really one of my favorites. But I was talking to my friend Cullen, and he was telling me about all the things he appreciated about it, and that was one of the things he was hitting on. And the more I thought about that, I was just like, that's a great idea. And I feel like huge missed opportunity to not do something like that with Knuckles, where it's like, yeah, his ancestors were assholes, and they were responsible for the destruction of the world.
To be honest, it's not too late for that either. They could even do that in the new movie. Go
And-
down.
That's
Oh, God, I
not.
hope
That's
so.
yeah. You're not right. You're not
You're
wrong
not-
there. And to go even further back, because I noticed somebody's talking about it in there, and I was gonna bring it up, but Archie did kind of go into all of this before, and like it or not, Ken Penders helped kind of cater to that, because somebody said, "Oh, you'll love the Sonic Adventure adaptation because Knuckles is the hero," though, and that's because Ken was completely obsessed with Knuckles. I do not like his interpretation of Knuckles. He is too perfect. He is too good of a hero. He can just do everything right all the time, and he's a leader who knows everything that's going on, and he's in charge of a whole society out of nowhere. I don't like Pender's take on things. I do like his
Yeah.
idea in terms of exploring Knuckles, but I mean, we'll talk about it in speed reading. Like, this is why we're gonna have to talk in Archie soon, and I admittedly do have to go back and read more of it there, but the comics do explore Knuckles' history more than literally any other bit of Sonic canon, but it's not good. It's really, really not good. And I think you guys going on like Black Panther style, I think would be fascinating, because Shadow's got his closure, and I know people are pretty angry with what he is now, but fans of that character have that closure. They have that complete arc, and be it one game, be it extended to 06, like we got that for Shadow. We've never had that finalized for Knuckles, and I think we got so close with Adventure. If we did go back and revisited that game, I would really like them for his arc to just kind of accept, because they start off there like, I've only known this island my entire life, and by the end of it, he should be like, fuck, you know.
And I would love
Maybe that's where we get the 'cause that's the last time we see him guarding Angel Island in the games, right? Unless we're counting advanced games, maybe.
Yeah.
I guess at the beginning of SA2, technically.
Still chasing the Master Emerald, but we never see Angel Island.
In
Yeah,
SA
where were they at the
in-
beginning of that game?
in the beginning there, I always interpreted as like Rouge had managed to steal the emerald from Knuckles on Angel Island, and then Knuckles like chased her down into the desert. That's how I interpreted that.
What a strange choice they made there. Maybe it's just because
No.
they already had the desert assets ready.
I don't remember trying to remember for Tikal and Chaos, did they return to the Master Emerald, or did they just kind of ascend?
They just kind of
Ooh.
ascended.
They fucking
life.
died.
Yeah, because in Sonic Battle, when Chaos comes down, he doesn't have to break the Master Emerald to come down. He just kind of returns, and he returns as like a harbinger to like warn everybody that like shit's not going to be right.
Wait, hold up. Chaos is in Sonic Battle?
Yeah, Chaos Zero is in Sonic Battle. He returns as a harbinger.
Oh shit! I gotta play this game now.
Yeah, there's like a fucking
Yeah, you do.
there's a point of the story where there's like an impact site and an impact crater, and then everybody who goes to investigate the crater notices that like Chaos Zero is hanging around there, and they're all just like, he can't communicate with words, so they're all trying to figure out like what the fuck is Chaos trying to tell us, because you don't show up unless things have gone horribly wrong. Because
I wish they would utilize Chaos again.
this is one of the reasons why Battle is one of my favorite, not games to replay, but stories to revisit. There's a lot of stuff in there that I really wish we would see more going forward in Sonic games.
Yeah.
So TXS sends $6 Canadian 99, says, since we are on the topic of game ideas, I sent one to Pup a little while ago on Twitter. It's a chonker, but it's worth talking about. Let me know what your Twitter hook is, and I guess I'll discuss it with the group at a later date. I can't say it will be on like an episode or anything like that, but like we'd be happy to look at the idea. And
At least look it over, yeah.
to DM you some feedback as well, like if you're interested. But yeah, we'd love to hear about it.
There you go. Said all I can really say there on my end there. I just big S3K fan. I've always wanted to explore my favorite area of the Sonic universe, because it's been like to that point we haven't had too much definition for that world, and I think Angel Island was the first to give that to us. It's the complete opposite of what Lost Tex is, which has no lore. Explore the natives of that particular world. Just makes them out to be the bad guys, even though Sonic and Eggman are the ones invading this planet, or whatever the fuck it's supposed to be. And it really is just bits and pieces of a Mario game world floating up from the sky, as opposed to Angel Island, which was a wholly unique environment from anything else we'd seen thus far. So, there we go.
So who wants
Whoever's next, go for it.
Yeah.
Mine is somewhat long. Do we want to do mine last, or do we want to do mine now?
I say we get into it.
Yeah, let's
okay.
go for it. Mine's quite long as well, so like
Me and Pup just came here with fucking like, this is my list of demands, Sega. So I have 3 games that I want to propose, mainly because what I'm proposing is more a direction for Sega to take. We already know that they're kind of doing the split direction with like, here's our mainline game, here's our Mania game. What I want to propose is that there's a wildcard game added in, and the first set of these, I want to see Sonic return to the RPG genre. I want a turn-based Sonic RPG, but not in the style of Chronicles. I didn't hate Chronicles when I played it. I don't hate it now, but I want to see a Sonic RPG kind of take up the mantle of the Paper Mario series. For the most part, that series has stopped doing what people originally approached it for. So I would like to see Sonic kind of take that up, because one of the things Paper Mario did really well was have an overworld that utilized the mechanics of a Mario game at their very base minimum, but it was structured like an RPG where you could also get in turn-based battles with enemies. And that's something that Chronicles didn't do. The Chronicles overworld felt very flat. It didn't feel like it utilized Sonic as a character. I want to see the idea behind what Paper Mario did, where they want to utilize the physics of what makes that character tick in the overworld, but then your combat is turn-based, and we have a higher emphasis on story. I want the combat to only use 2 characters. I don't want us to cycle between a bunch of different characters for my combat. I want it to be quick and snappy, and I want it to have basically Paper Mario's partner-based combat, where you can have Sonic, and then you can be like, hey, which character of Sonic's cast do I want tagging along for this adventure? And just like in Paper Mario, you can swap between them at will. Mainly, I just want to be able to walk into a random village and be like, I'm going to save you, and just have E1. I just want to have Omega behind Sonic, just screeching that he will solve the problem violently. With there being a story focus, I would like to have a seasoned writer on it. So in an ideal world, please give me someone like Ian Flynn, who not only is able to write a very compelling story, but is able to write a story that utilizes the various aspects of what makes Sonic Sonic. and what makes people like Sonic and use them in a story. I would also like to see this game explore the origins of Eggman a little bit, because if there's one thing that we haven't gotten in the series ever outside of, say, Sonic X, where they had that whole like Eggman realizing that he actually heralded from Earth moment, we've never actually gotten exploration of him, why his motivations are what they are, and I think an RPG is the best place to really delve into that. The second game that I would want, this is the super obvious, I want a Mania 2. If we're gonna have a 2D side game for every like mainline 3D game, then obviously give us a Mania 2. Incorporate a bunch of playable characters for the main campaign. Please don't focus so much on reusing levels. Focus on maybe a centralized story location. That's something Mania didn't do, and the only Sonic game we've really gotten that did that well was Sonic 3 and Knuckles, as far as like the classic games are concerned. So if you're going to use that, copy that formula specifically. I want to explore a whole area. I want to explore an area of Sonic's world, but I want to do it in that level-based structure. Here's where things get a little bit different, though. I want a Tiny Chow Garden in there, the Tiny Chow Garden from the Sonic Advance series, and you know that's going to be one of my things, Nick. I want to see that Tiny Chow Garden.
I would love them to bring in like a mobile app for just to, kind of just as a nice callback to the VMUs, because that's how I first interacted with the Chow, and I talk a lot of shit about the Chow, but man, like when Sonic Adventure came out and like the crazy shit, like I could not believe everything the Dreamcast and Sonic Adventure, like this is the future of video games. Like having a little piece of that game just walk with me anywhere was such a fun concept. I would love to see them reincorporate that with a mobile app.
And you know what? That would be a perfect thing to do with this garden, because the one thing that this garden is going to do that I really want them to bring back that they did, I'm not sure if you ever used like the Game Boy Link cable or anything during the GameCube era.
I attempted to. I didn't have friends.
No, the one that links it to the GameCube, not the one that links them together.
Yeah, no, I've just been a little baby bitch. I don't know, honestly. I feel like I had one and then immediately lost it.
Okay, so one of the things that you could do in Sonic Advance, this was for Sonic Advance 1 and 2, and I think they dropped it by the time you got to 3. I don't remember. But with the Tiny Chow Garden in that game, any Chow you raised in that game, you could transfer them over to Sonic Adventure 1 or 2 using the using that cable. I would like to see them do that with a mobile app. Be able to transfer your Chow from that garden over, and I want there to be unique Chow that can only be gotten in this game, because my mainline Sonic game is going to have gardens in it as well, but they're going to serve a different purpose than normal. There's still going to be a place where you can raise Chow, but they're going to be more important than just the area that you fuck off to. I guess the only other thing I'd want for the Mania 2 variant is please give me a couple of... I'm not sure if any of you've played the original Ninja Gaiden on NES.
A little bit, yeah.
I want a couple, just maybe 2 or 3 in the game, of those really, really crunchy, pixely cutscenes from Ninja Gaiden in a Sonic Mania game. That would just make my day. And then the third one,
man.
I'll try to get through this one quick, because this is where I've got the most, because this is the mainline one. I want there to be an open world, but I want the world to focus both as an open world and as a hub. I want there to be small objective-based linear levels that are discoverable, kind of like the shrines in Breath of the Wild. So think like collect 100 rings and all those things that you do in some of the sub-levels in Sonic Unleashed. That would be where you would put stuff like that. But then I want there to be larger full-scale levels that are discoverable in the overworld. And for you to get to the final level of the game, you need to complete all of these full levels. Because in these full levels, and I want them to have 2 acts, like classic Sonic levels, but in these full levels, the goal is to actually find a Chaos Emerald that's at the end of Act 2 of the level, and it will end up in a boss fight, either with Eggman or Dr. Starline or Metal Sonic, whoever happens to be trying to take that emerald and bring it back to Eggman's headquarters in that particular area. I want there to be a showdown with that character in some way. I would love to have some showdowns with Metal Sonic that don't just involve either fighting a giant fucking dragon or just running headlong at him a la Forces and Generations. I would like to see some more ways of exploring his character. On the topic of Metal Sonic, every now and again, I want Metal Sonic to have to race you in one or two of these linear levels. So when you're going in, the first time you go in, there's a chance that Metal Sonic will not be at the end. Not quite yet. He'll be in the level and he'll try to fuck with you during the level. Of course, when you go into the level again, he won't be there. You can play the level without Metal Sonic fucking with you. But I would like that to be an aspect there. Because I want this to be a big open world, I would like there to be characters that can be recruited in the open world. So like kind of a Sonic Heroes-esque thing where you have a party of 3 and you can use the party to solve very certain things in the overworld. Like there's something super high up that Sonic can't get to, but Tails can get to it. So you start off with Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles getting out of whatever tutorial-ish zone you want to have. But in the overworld, you can recruit other characters that fulfill the same roles. Like, let's say instead of Knuckles on your team, you want to have Rouge, or instead of them, you want to have Omega on your team. You can bring them on so long as they're fulfilling a slot of a character that can fly or a character that can utilize power. But let your team be customizable and let it be more fluid than what we had in Heroes. Don't give me stand still, press the button, then the characters can swap between their things. I want to see, like I mentioned to you, Nick, I want to see spin dash off of this ramp, get super high in the air, swap to Tails, fly up to this location, swap to Knuckles to glide the rest of the way once he gets tuckered out, hop onto the wall, and just like I want to see the ability to just fully abuse these characters' movesets in a way that Heroes never gave us, and I think an open area lets us do that. The objective-based levels I do want to be easier to clear with certain characters. So, like, you can clear it with whatever combination you go in there with, but maybe it's easier to do certain things with Omega than Knuckles as a power character, so that there's a little impact to what you bring outside of just character preference. Some puzzles potentially could also involve, this is a super old gaming trope, but like splitting up on switches. Like there's an area only Tails can get to, get him on the switch, hold him there. There's an area only Knuckles can get to, get him on the switch, hold him there. The act-based levels, I want to have multiple pathways. These are the ones that you get the Chaos Emeralds at the end of. I would like those to have multiple pathways and collectibles in them. None of them required to beat the game, mind. I don't want a moon medal situation from Sonic Unleashed. I want these to be things that you can grab at your leisure. Things like concept art, things like cosmetics, items for the Chow Garden, which we'll get into, and then, of course, rings or areas where you get caches of rings, like, find a trove of 1,000 rings randomly in a level so that you have all that stuff to tout to your garden later. Every level capping off with a boss, either a confrontation with Eggman or Starline or Metal Sonic, potentially even another faction that's trying to get the Chaos Emeralds. Who knows? Have fun with the story, however you want to do it. For the Chow Gardens, I want the Chow Gardens to implement as fast travel locations in the world. So when you have a garden, this is not just a place for you to raise your Chow, and unlocking new gardens is not just new places to have extra Chow. These also function much like they did in Sonic Adventure 1 as fast travelers, because if you remember in Adventure 1, you can use the gardens to teleport between the Egg Carrier and Station Square and Mystic Ruins.
That's true. That's a good point.
So it's not like this isn't something we've already had implemented before. I would just like to see it done in the area where fast travel makes the most sense, which is a giant open world. I would also
I don't know if you brought it up or not. I've been trying to take care of some stuff for us. Did you mention any like Chow Garden customization?
Yes, actually. So I
Okay.
want there to be, I haven't hit on it a lot, but I did mention that I want there to be stuff that you can bring back to the gardens that are in the levels. So like I want there to be a lot of cosmetic stuff in these levels so that And you can even get them maybe from the quote shrines, the smaller objective-based ones as well. These are all stuff you can bring back to your various gardens. But here's the trick. If you go to a garden and you have, let's say you've got a TV that you can have your Chow watch as an example. You want to customize that with that area. You only get one of that item. So if you've got 10 Chow gardens and you want there to be a TV in each one, you might have to find TVs in multiple other levels, meaning you don't have to create as many unique assets from a game dev point of view. It also could introduce the ability for shops to carry these things in towns, which is the next part. I want there to be locations in this game that are reflective of the world that we have seen in IDW Sonic. I want to see I want to see Barricade Town. I want to see stuff in Mystic Jungle. I want to see Spiral Village. And these can be areas where you interact with people. You can buy stuff for your garden, fast travel locations, and potentially, purchase power-ups for your characters. Little power-ups like what we have in Generations, not full-on ones like what we have in, say, Secret Rings. And then here's where the longevity of this formula will come in. The final confrontation with Eggman, after you've gotten all of your MacGuffins, your Chaos Emeralds, and the linear levels, I want the final confrontation with him to involve chasing him through a portal that will lead you into essentially the real world. Not real world as in our world, but real world as in the world that Adventure 1 and 2 take place in. Basically having a soft confirm that these places do exist, but with one added caveat, I want there to be a quick moment where you pass other worlds, one of them being Mobius. You don't necessarily explore it, but it will show that this world is part of a canon that you could one day, if they did a sequel to this, maybe you could actually go explore Mobius and explore that world if they decided to recanonize stuff like that. That's a wishful thinking thing, but this whole thing is wishful thinking, so fuck it, whatever. But for
here for me, man.
But for the final confrontation with Eggman here, I want Eggman gets him that world, and we find out that the reason we haven't spent any time with humans in so fucking long is that Gun has made it almost impossible for Eggman to get there safely, and he's only running there to get the fuck away from Sonic. He gets there, and I want to see, like, as you're chasing Eggman's army of badniks, as they're trying to get to you, I want to see gun robots just intercepting that shit. And just, like, going, no, Sonic, you go do your thing. We will stop all of this. And I want to see, like, Metal Sonic having to, like, contend with Gun's arsenal, because that's a confrontation we actually haven't seen. We don't see Eggman's army doing battle with GUN that often, especially not now. So I would like to see that as, like, a backdrop in the final level, those factions warring, so you can just focus on Eggman. And then with the final confrontation with Eggman, I'd like a multi-phase fight where he goes through multiple Eggman mobile mods, and potentially make it to where at every phase of the fight, he knocks out one of your characters in your party, so that you can choose essentially which character you deliver the final blow with Eggman on. But whichever character you use to fight a certain phase of that fight, that character will be locked for the fight going forward. And there's my pitch. Woo.
That's super cool.
That was
Play the shit out of it.
ambitious.
Yeah,
There's a lot of ambition there.
that'd be a very expensive fucking Sonic game, but I'd play the shit out of it.
Yeah.
It sounds like if they really wanted to, get their balls out with a Sonic game. It feels like what Rise of Lyric should have been,
They got their balls out and then actually spin dashed them.
They swang their fucking massive Sega dong around in our face
Jesus.
and did the helicopter right in front of our very eyes. Just quickly, shall we just quickly go through super chats here during Suris's bit?
Yeah.
Sure.
Devin McCann sent $4.99, said, also bring back Sonic Battle, you fucking coward. Just you cowards, I didn't say fucking. Old habits.
Paraphrasing.
That Jordo back at it again with the $5 super chat. Since the classic games are now considered separate from modern era, I'd like a Mania-styled remake of the adventure games, like Route 99 or City Escape, in like the classic form, which would be fucking badass.
Oh, I'd love
And
that.
then we've got TJ Nightwolf. Yeah, that was the name I went by back in school. Nah, I'm just messing with you, but he sent a very generous $40 donation saying, get yourselves each some lunch. I've been backtracking through these old podcasts, and I'm happy I was able to catch it live this time. This cast has the most refreshing take on Sonic I've ever listened to. You are too kind, PJ Nightwolf.
Yeah, holy cow, dude. Thank you.
Dang,
That
yeah.
means
I
a
think all of
whole
you.
lot.
But yeah,
Very
holy
generous.
cow.
Very
Thank
Genesis.
all of you, especially the one that sent the most
I
money.
was hoping nobody heard that. I meant very generous. Leave me alone.
So,
Fucking Sonic.
yeah, no, Suris,
Fucking
that was
Sonic.
that was a big fat cock of an idea right there, my friend.
So when the idea was pitched for the ideal Sonic game thing, my brain just started spinning, and I'm just like, this is what I want. So I've been
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock, I can tell.
dude. This
Just
is one of
goes
those
to
episodes I was
there's a
excited
lot worth
about.
loving. Yeah, man, there's a lot worth loving this franchise, man. And I think, yeah, like you said at the front there, like I think this is a good conversation for us to have for that very reason.
Your idea
Because-
makes my idea feel like a meta-era Sonic game. Like,
I'm sorry.
we're in a fucking fight now, Suris.
I mean, I'm okay. The last time we fought, we got to play Sonic Heroes on stream. I like fighting with you. It's fine.
That's quite true, actually. Our fights are pretty productive. All right, so who's next? Is it me or you, Wayne?
I'm fine with either.
Just give me a name. Who's next?
Wayne.
I'll go.
Okay.
So I feel like there's been kind of a theme where a lot of us have been talking about Sonic Adventure or things related to it. My pitch will not be any different. Although mine, I wouldn't want to necessarily classify it as Sonic Adventure 3, mostly because I think a lot of the ideas of what I would like to see tie closer into Sonic Adventure 1. And I wouldn't want... I feel like if it's going to be a Sonic Adventure 3, it needs to pay more tribute to 2, and my idea just doesn't really fit in with that, I guess. So, I definitely want something that's kind of like... Y'all ever play Jak and Daxter?
Yeah.
It's this big interconnected world where you've got these levels that are all kind of set apart in one another. It's almost like Super Mario 64, but if every location was part of the same overworld.
Okay.
And I like that idea, and that's something that I would love to go for with a Sonic game, where it's like, here's all these areas, and you've got these levels that are all part of just one big overworld. You can, and you can only really go on to the next level once you've completed like enough tasks in this one location. Kind of turning it into something of a Sonic Collectathon. I don't know how people would feel about that.
Oh, I'd fucking love
Personally,
that.
I think it would be fucking awesome.
It'd be a neat idea as long as well paced. Yeah, it'd be a neat.
Yeah.
Give
the
me Sonic the
concept-
Hedgehog Banjo Kazooie, please.
Doesn't it suck that we have to like look at this like, well, I don't know if the dev team can pull it off. But yeah, let's,
got a lot of limitations here, Suris. We can't do your idea.
Yeah.
let's go with the impression that the dev team actually knows what they're doing. So yeah.
Endless budget. It's it's a game devoted to the second biggest mascot of all time in gaming. Like, come on.
Now, the concept in would be I am not as studied up on the comics and a lot of that extended lore kind of stuff, so I don't know if this has ever been touched on before in a different way. But I want to take that continuous story of the Chaos Emeralds from like Sonic 3 and Knuckles and Sonic Adventure and kind of put my own personal little bow on it, I guess. And the core concept would be this idea that we have Angel Island, which is this landmass that's floating above the clouds. This is the home to the Master Emeralds. This is where the Chaos Emeralds presumably spend most of their time, or I guess should rather, but they're, constantly getting pulled for this, that, or the other because of like power grabbing schemes and that sort of thing. And I want towards the beginning of the game, we just have like fucking Cataclysm, where Angel Island is just crashed into the earth, not into the water, into the land below, and everyone's like, yo, what the hell's going on here? And They rush into to go see what's going on, and they find Knuckles is kind of like already been beat up, and then we see Chaos of all creatures is there with him, also has had his ass handed to him, and the Master Emerald has not just like shattered or anything like that, it has decayed. And it is like basically brittled down. It's not in pieces, it's just lifeless. And there is this dark creature, this like shadowy figure that's there that has just fucked up everybody. And you see him just kind of like sink into the ground below. What follows is this little venture over through these temples that have started taking rise around not only Angel Island, but also in the parts of the world surrounding it now, that were originally seals that the Chaos Emeralds were supposed to be like keys for, essentially. They were trying to keep something out. And because the Chaos Emeralds kept getting taken away from where they belonged, those seals have broken down. And so like as you keep going through these little temple areas and everything like that, that's where you start going off into these little side levels and stuff. Is you're going in and you're finding these temples and ruins and everything, trying to figure out what's going on, and they keep taking you further and further down below the earth until you basically find yourself in this upside down cavern system. This is the anti-Angel Island, essentially. I haven't come up with a name for it yet. I guess the Devil Island.
That works, yeah. Demon Isle.
That's perfectly
Yeah.
fine.
That's pretty badass. I like that name.
It's also
And-
fucking. I just imagined something with your concept, Wayne, for a second.
Yeah.
Just like Sonic and Tails rush, they see a Chaos Emerald, they're about to grab it, and then like whoever fucked up the Master Emerald just like walks over and touches it and walks away, and just like as Sonic grabs the emerald, it just starts decaying in his hands.
God, it just like turns to ash, essentially.
This also reminds me of a pitch I have. I completely spaced on it. I'm gonna wait till you guys are all done. I got a crazy fucking story idea for you guys.
Yeah. The idea is that you've actually been like collecting the Chaos Emeralds kind of along the way, hoping it was like, oh, these always fix the problem. Maybe if I take these Chaos Emeralds back to where they belong, we can power them up, go supersonic, save the day, that kind of shit, right? The midway point of the game is basically once you've collected the 7 Chaos Emeralds, you haven't necessarily gone through like 7 full areas. Some of them will have come to you in story beats and everything like that. And one thing I really, really want to do is that maybe like a quarter of the way into the game, you run into Eggman and you fight him. And then, he brings in like the Egg Carrier 4.0 or some shit, and this new enemy, Discord, just annihilates it. You team up with Eggman for the entire rest of the game.
So Sonic becomes a Discord mod.
Yes, Sonic becomes a Discord mod.
I'm here to
Discord-
moderate the chaos and Discord.
Please do not post memes in the Green Hill Zone.
The one thing that the one thing that gets me about this is I feel like a lot of it is kind of derivative of like the story between Light and Dark Gaia in Sonic Unleashed, but it's still like a kind of neat idea to me. I basically want this creature Discord to be the antithesis of chaos, where
So he
I know
violates the terms of service.
He posted porn in the chat.
It's me.
Either he could be Discord, or he could just be like, "My name is Order."
I was thinking that or like Malachite
This is Discord, and this is
you know what?
Zoom,
I kind
and
of like
this is-
Order.
This is Skype.
They would call it Sonic Order and Chaos. Yeah.
Because like having it be that like in Sonic's world, chaos is the natural way of things. Like this is fine. This births all the fantastical things and elements that you normally get in the series. Angel Island gets to float because, you know, chaos energy, shit like that. And then just like somebody goes in, they're like, no, I want order. And Eggman's just like Eggman's motivation outside of being fucking scorned because his fourth fucking egg carrier gets yeeted is just him going.
Actually, this is perfect, Suris, because this actually gives me a this helped me figure out like what I wanted to call the other artifacts that I wanted to introduce in this game.
Egg carrier has been kicked from the server.
So actually, I do like the idea of him being called Order and being kind of that embodiment in this universe, because I wanted him to be this more calm and collected sort of figure. I wanted him to be menacing in the sense that he just has it all together. You know, he's not a bumbling fool like Dr. Eggman can be from time to time. He's not, you know, this goofy Saturday morning cartoon villain. He is just cold and you know, he comes in, he gets shit done, he doesn't play around, he's just there to fuck shit up. He wants complete order. He wants things to go exactly the way that he believes they should. And his artifacts, now that we have the name of Order, I finally know what to call them. They are the Opals of Order.
Oh, I actually like
they
that.
Yeah, the Opals of Order are these stones that basically can correct reality around them. Whereas, you know, the Chaos Emeralds can give Sonic like this let's say we already got Sonic Chaos. Yeah, but nobody really thinks about Sonic Chaos, so I think it's fine. I would have to workshop this a little bit because a lot of this I've just been kind of coming up with in the past like day. But I just love this idea of you have this warped otherworldly area that you can kind of transition into. And you can actually transition from both the overworld and the underground, what would we want to call that? What would we call that? The Demon Isle? I actually like Demon Isle. That sounds fucking awesome. So
Demon
you can...
Island.
Honestly, we could even keep everything central to Angel Island. Like, maybe it's just bigger than Sonic Adventure 1 gave it credit for, because my impression from Sonic 3 Knuckles was always that it's a pretty large place. You can have a whole adventure
It's
there.
a whole fucking
should be
ecosystem. It's supposed
It
to
should
be.
be big as fuck.
Yeah, and so it's like Angel Island and the Demon Isle are kind of interconnected, and you can transition between the two of them. It's just kind of like the Light World and Dark World from A Link to the Past. Don't ask me why that's been on my mind lately. And I want more puzzles. I want more temples, stuff like that. A part of me is thinking, yeah, that was kind of like echoing off of what you're going for, Nick. I was listening to you discuss your idea. I was just like, I mean, yeah. I love Sonic and ancient temples and everything like that, but yeah, you know, I don't want it to just be in temples. I want him to, you know, be in the forest. I want him in this like this cool thing in the Demon Isle where it's just this gorgeous waterfall that's springing upward, and you're like going on these land masses that are just kind of like floating around it. There's like these glowing like stones everywhere that just kind of give this otherworldly feel. Stuff like that. Just really play around with this shit. And I want like the finale to just be Order has seen everything that Sonic has accomplished over the past couple of years, and he tries to essentially embody himself into a figure that is something like that.
Oh, basically
I
making him like a Mephiles, but for Sonic instead of Shadow.
Definitely, yeah. I was definitely thinking that, and I think that it would be interesting if he kind of takes that that concept based off of like Metal Sonic, partially because I love Metal, but it would also give a really good reason as to why Order would attack Eggman in particular is because he's actually just trying to get a hold of Metal Sonic because he has this like biometric data of Sonic the Hedgehog and everything like that.
It doesn't
And
even have
Order
to
is
be.
essentially
It doesn't even have to be biometric data. Okay, so you had the idea that like he can fuck up the Master Emerald, right? So this guy is obviously like draining properties of things. He's breaking them down. He doesn't even need biometric data. His whole shtick as Order can be, I take the chaos from it and I give it order. So if he gets a hold of Knuckles, he has Knuckles' power. He's taking those chaotic elements and he's giving them unity. He's bringing them into himself. So he just goes up to Sonic, touches him once, and goes, "I've given order to you." And now he's got his powers and he uses them for his shit.
Yeah. And another thing that I thought would be interesting is because I was toying around with this idea too. The Order Opals, I don't think should necessarily give Sonic himself new powers. I think that there's definitely something to be said for like, yeah, once he's got all 7 of them, give him a new form. But it's actually something I would like to see is more of it manipulates everything around him. And it actually, again, this is stupidly ambitious and I don't know how this would work in an actual game development setting. I just think it would be fucking cool is when you've got these and maybe it could just be for a last story segment. But instead of you just like zipping around and you're super powerful and everything, the world is literally reforming itself around Sonic when he's in this form. Bending to his will essentially. Only within a certain proximity, mind you, but I feel like that would be like a neat spin on it. And I definitely want, the other characters should definitely make appearances. Sonic, Shadow. Shadow's a character that I want to treat well in a game like this, where it's actually like, he's actually got his own personality back, and he's kind of going back and forth on this whole mission with the Opals of Order, and it's I don't know much about Scourge. Leave me alone. Actually, no. So that Jordo, thank you for the $5. Also, I'm not that familiar with Scourge. I want to say it's the green hedgehog from the comics.
He's the green hedgehog.
Yes, he's got green fur, blue eyes.
He likes
he's the antithesis of Sonic. Yeah, we'll talk about it in a second. You keep going, Wayne.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I'm all over the place. This isn't as concise as I would like it to be. But yeah. I just want to get some of these characters back into where they're supposed to be. I want Tails' whole thing to be he is super efficient when it comes to this game, and he's constantly like helping Sonic along the way. Kind of like how in Jak and Daxter, it's like, oh, you've collected this many power cells. Now I've created this new device that you can use to traverse through this area that's powered up through this. It's like, hey, Sonic, you got these Chaos Emeralds? Cool. I just created the tornado, the tornado sphere, where it's actually this thing that can basically burrow through parts of the ground, and there's this whole like mini game section where you're it's like Sky Chase, but it's through like the earth essentially. And like you're fighting through these corrupted like creatures that are like springing out of tunnels in the ground and stuff like that. And then the end fight is just going to be everybody's all together. A lot of the theming of this has been these characters, this world, the way it is now. Everyone and everything in the Sonic universe has been built off of the mistakes that they have made, the things that have gone wrong, and not just like wishing that those would go away, but doing something about them, taking the imperfections of themselves and in the world around them and building off of it instead of, just kind of shunning those ideas. It's this whole idea of where the chaos of our lives and the chaos of the universe is what makes us who we are. And order in and of itself is not a terrible thing, but too much of it just stifles ourselves out of our identity. And I want that to be a core theme of the game as well. I think that fits not only for Sonic as a character, but also for Sonic as a series. And I want this whole final battle of like Eggman's army with perfect chaos reformed, whatever the order form of Sonic is, and going up against the great beast of order, and then this like corrupted counterpart, the like this like corrupted Metal Sonic. And I want sympathy for Metal Sonic in this game too. I want Metal to be having a hard time with this. Like, he's actually trying to rebel, and he actually starts to form his own identity, kind of like he did at the end of the Sonic OVA.
Yeah.
Mostly out of him trying to be forced to be and to do something that he doesn't want to be. That's the order. His rebellion against this forced order is kind of what makes him break out of his shell and become himself, I guess. I don't know. That's again. I'm sorry. You guys had this so well structured, and I'm just like, hey, here's my super jumbled mess of concepts and ideas. Most of this is story, but yeah, make a Sonic Collectathon platformer.
I mean, considering that like your favorite thing in
it's
Sonic
very
games is the
Yeah.
temples and everything, it makes sense that you'd have a story focus, and there's nothing wrong with that. It was engaging.
No, and you actually reawakened a pitch I was going to make as a video last year, and I never have. And I actually, if you're okay with it, and I don't want to eat up too much more time because I know, Pup, it is your turn here soon. And I don't want to, take away from, because you had amazing ideas there. If you don't mind, I would actually like to build off some of your ideas, because I think and I'm sure other people have as well, done like a chaos versus order sort of aiming before. But last year, I was trying to figure out how I would kind of make sense of the Sonic timeline. So we finally had a consistent timeline, lore, canon, all that crap too. And it's not far off from some of the ideas you were expounding upon there. I just didn't know how I would do it. Like, would it be games? Would this be like comic books that were just canonized? I don't know what the case would be, but I'm with you. I think I would love to see more of the Chaos Emeralds, the Master Emerald, all that stuff explored a little bit further. And I think we do need to have, at some point, a big theming of chaos versus order. I rambled about it in the Super Sonic video for a fucking reason. So let me just pitch this idea at you, because Wayne, I'm sure your brain will flourish with some ideas too, and because I was stuck with you too. Like, I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do with any of these ideas. Guys, let me pitch this at you. 7 Master Emeralds. And we have everything we need in the world of Sonic to make it happen right now. I want to see them finally explain where the Master Emerald came from, why there are split timelines, why everything's as messy as it is, how Sonic is the avatar of chaos. And I was trying to figure out how do we emphasize order before? I was like, well, Eggman, if you put him more leaning towards Robotnik SatAM, roboticization, making the world robotic and
Making it
single-minded, right? Like Borging it up like he has been. I think you could play with that idea, and I think Metal Sonic. Because I know, Pup, you want Metal Sonic with more personality, and I think we got as close as we were going to get to it with Sonic Heroes.
Yeah.
And I think returning to Neo Metal Sonic as the avatar of order would be fucking sick.
That would be really
have
cool.
it like the Angel Island arc in IDW, just like full on. He's not trying to just do an Eggman plan. He's just like, no, this is the missing component. This is what I need.
Let me keep going for you here, though, because this is again where I'm like, that's a whole separate thing compared to what I was also doing. Like, okay, we have Sonic split into different timelines and different worlds and everything, and how do we explain that? And I thought to myself, okay, well, let's lay it out. What is going on with the Master Emerald? It is this source of power that can control the Chaos Emeralds, according to Sonic Adventure. If you're going to Sonic 3, it turns them into Super Emeralds. It just advances their power. I think you can play with that a little bit, but I was also thinking, but why aren't there more? Why is this the only Master Emerald? Because I guess it's like Master or anything like yeah, but where else would they exist? And then I got to thinking, Man, there sure are a lot of floating continents around this world, and they all seem to have a set of things to collect, don't they?
So like,
Because immediately, parallel to that, you have Little Planet and you have the Time Stones.
yep.
And from there, you can already immediately explain Sonic Generations and everything like that. Like, Sonic fucking around on this planet with his speed forever change him as he got faster. And that can explain some timelines and things like that. And then you could bring in someone like an Avatar of Order or something like Wayne was saying. Like, I'm going after Sonic because think of Loki at this point now, like diverging timelines, shit like that. We need to get things into order. That's a whole thing you could do there. And going from there, I don't know enough about the Babylon Rogues, but the Garden of Babylon is a spaceship, isn't it?
It's something like that, right?
Couldn't we retcon it a little bit and say like the arcs of the cosmos are their own set of Master Emeralds? We just up the amount there. They have their own Master Emerald, and everyone's got their own Guardian. Like we can make Jet the Guardian of Babylon Garden, some shit like that. Like everyone has a role like Knuckles, and everybody has a monster. Everyone has a monster that is on the opposite end of things, like Sonic or like Knuckles and Chaos for Angel Island, and Lost Hex. I was thinking, well, how can we make the Zeddy cool? What if they had somehow become like, what if these were the collectibles of that world? Like, these were the magic gems that have taken kind of a form of their own, or they're representing it somehow. Like, they just kind of formed into their own thing. And the conch is the key to their Master Emerald in some form or fashion. And we have like a 7th Zeddy that just makes things go crazy there. But you could do this with each set, the Soul Emeralds and Blaze's Dimension. Maybe it's not exactly an expansive dimension. Maybe this is kind of her Angel Island is her soul dimension. I don't know. This is why I'm just spitballing there. Like, this is what I would do. I would bring in 7 Master Emeralds, and I would bring in, like Wayne's saying, like an Avatar of Order, and they would go in so far as to DC it up in terms of like, we're going to clean up the timeline. We're going to make it like this by the end of it.
Oh,
And
we're
again,
gonna
this
we're
is why I
gonna
don't know,
we're gonna
like,
new 52 Sonic.
I mean,
new 52 Sonic, but also like the problem with stories like that is when you make the focus trying to fix up old stories, you kind of lose the focus of the story itself. And that's why I like Wayne's idea of like finding an Avatar of Order and things like that, and like we make that the central conflict and really expand upon these ideas that have always been floating around there, like quite literally in Sonic's world. And that give Sonic a new form there, and you know, you collect the 7 Master Emeralds, and
Transform
we
into BDSM
sort out the
Sonic.
world there, and we bring in Mobius, and we bring in Sally and the Freedom Fighters, and you can't stop me, bitches, you can't stop me, Sally, forever.
So Nick, you and I both of us in our pitches, yours in the piggyback pitch and mine in my original pitch, we're just both like, this is a way we can bring Mobius in.
I mean, hey,
we are yet to
absolutely
get
down.
to we're yet to get to my idea on that, and you might see a little smidge of that in my own. But
We do
go
need
on, continue.
We do need super chats before we get there, and then we are good.
Yeah, we do. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
That's basically what I've been trying to figure out, is like, how do we expand upon the general lore of it while cleaning up the timeline, while moving forward, and while expanding upon these heroes and villains that we already have in play here. And that would be make a Master Emerald set, Guardian and Monster for all these floating things, and bring in and just fill in the spaces where we don't have that yet. Make that like a 7th final place that has to be unlocked after the other places have been sorted out. But basically 7 Angel Islands, 7 Master Emeralds. And I was thinking 06 as well, and they're like, Mephiles is kind of the dark form of Shadow. Like, why isn't Iblis like have a fiery silver avatar, and why doesn't Suris have like a shiny evil like supersonic that Sonic has to fight? A lot of crazy shit. I was just saying, we could do a lot of stuff there.
And it's definitely, it's like I a lot of this was actually inspired by Final Fantasy VII Remake, where I love this idea of the planet itself kind of has this defense system against the way it thinks that things need to run. And I like the idea that these different entities of order or of chaos kind of create their own avatars. Like from what I think, I want to say that Chaos, as we know him, is actually just like a mutated Chow or something.
There's
But
a canon that says that, but I don't know if that's actually what they're running with now these days.
I'm fine with it. I
I-
think we could also use more expounding of what the fuck the Chow are.
yeah,
True.
well, that's my thing. Is like I
All
think
right,
it
so,
could be any. Sorry.
It's kind of becoming like, let's answer what everything in Sonic is now. I think we should get to the super chats.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. Like, no, no. The idea is really tight though. You're adding new context to a lot of Sonic stuff, and I think your story feels like a really cool sort of midway point between like Sonic Unleashed and you're probably going to take this the wrong way, but Sonic 06. But I mean that in a good way, in that it's got a lot of that sort of mythical kind of background.
Yeah, no,
to it.
I'll take that. Yeah.
And no, I wasn't trying to say shut up about your idea, but it was getting very much into like the what's a Chow, what's what are these totem poles in Green Hill? And I think it's very important that because I think Sony has been waiting a very long time. They send
Not-
$2 Canadian $79 and said order be like all according to Kaikaku or
There's
Keikaku?
also the one from Devin McCann we did not get to from before. That's
Oh,
why,
okay, yeah,
that's why I
yeah,
screen.
get that
That's
from them.
why I fucking screenshotted it and
Get on
put
with
it
just
in.
go,
Jesus
go.
Christ! From Devin McCann, they also said, "Also bring back Sonic Battle, you cowards." I agree.
That would be a good one. We got the Evil Dalek with I would like a Sonic Adventure 06 style game and story, but the game styles and stories are completely different to each other. A set of chronicles. So sort of like an anthology sort of Sonic game in a way. It'd be cool. Devin McCann said have Tails work with Order, sent $4.99. Space Empire says this reminds me of Nozo. This is why we need to read them sooner because I don't know what he means when he says this reminds me of
Nozo Unleashed. It's an old fan project.
Oh, not so. Okay, yeah.
Oh, I'm not sure what that is.
Oh, it was this thing with this like super powerful, like glowing Sonic.
It's Sonic Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, Ultra Instinct Sonic.
Okay, so yeah, are we
I do also want to like shout out to this one really fucking funny comment of the zero Neonics. Collect all 7 Master Emeralds and transform into BDSM Sonic.
Wow,
good.
Sonic, or wow, Eggman, whip cracks. If you didn't misbehave, I wouldn't have to break all your bones.
No. I hate this.
Phenomenal.
So something that I've kind of made an interesting observation about is like there's a lot of love for sort of the return to the shonen era of Sonic, a lot of contextual stuff, a lot of story oriented stuff. And it is interesting, like, because basically, you know me, when it comes to ideas, when it comes to Sonic, I try to be still kind of business minded, which is why my idea might not bode well with some of the diehard Sonic fans in here, but like, hear me out. So the stories we discussed so far have been very adventure era-y. My idea is like the meta era, but a redemption of the meta era, I guess. Like what I would like to see out of Sonic as he is now without reverting him back to any existing Sonic. So the title of it is Sonic United. And I kind of want to set it up like it's an ordinary day for Sonic. You're running along like a coastal sort of a pier kind of a level. And it all seems normal until suddenly a big portal opens up, which you just run straight through. And suddenly you're in the cosmos, you're in space. Like, there's planets everywhere, there's nebulas that you're running along the rings of Saturn and stuff like that, star fields and everything like that, and portals keep constantly opening, sending Sonic to these different planets, a la, like, Ratchet and Clank, A Rift Apart. And you've got 2 acts of this. The first zone is called Universe, and, like, it's just, you know, I figured that would be quite a way to make an impression, is, like, it seems normal, but then you're suddenly going through all these different rifts and stuff. Got 2 acts of it, and the gameplay style is the boost gameplay, but there's a few differences. We're bringing back the Lightspeed Dash from Sonic Unleashed, and instead of collecting rings or wisp capsules, we're bringing back tricking. So, like, press one of the buttons and stuff while in air, and you can do these tricks and stunts to fill up your boost gauge. I just think boost is the right gameplay style for this. So yeah, you get 2 acts of this, and then a boss fight with Dr. Robotnik on his latest outer space base thing. And you have this boss fight, and then he blasts you into this portal, where suddenly it starts making sense that Robotnik is behind the rifts opening up. And so you go into the second zone. But instead of zones, we've got verses instead. So first zone is universe. Second zone is pixelverse, where you go into the world of classic Sonic. So the idea of this was that it would be like a 30th anniversary title, basically. That kind of looks back on the history of... I hear you laughing already, Brick.
No, it's comments. I'm sorry.
Okay, so Pixelverse, you've got 2 acts again. Act 1, again, boost gameplay style with the modern Sonic. But the aesthetic of this universe is more close to like the Minecraft Sonic. Like visually, it's all pixelated and stuff like that. Act 2, you play as classic Sonic. It's a 2D environment. And then you get a boss, which basically works like modern Sonic gets a hit in, then classic Sonic. It's turns-based. You take it in turns as the 2 Sonics. But then a portal opens up, modern Sonic has to run, no more classic Sonic. That's it. That's his part of the story done. You then enter the Polyverse, which is a low poly world akin to like the Sega Saturn games. And then you kind of introduce the second main playstyle, because there's no 2D after Pixelverse. It's all... So the main Sonic plays with like the boost gameplay, and whatever second Sonic you're playing as will have adventure-style gameplay, but with 1 gimmick per Sonic, basically.
Oh, so like he'll enter
So
like
the
he'll
other...
have to interact with like Jam Sonic here.
Yeah, he'll basically meet
And-
Jam Sonic and interact with him. So
And in a polyverse, we solve all the Sally and Amy problems in one fell swoop.
There we go.
just hold up and wait a second. Hold up and wait a second.
Except for
Oh,
the
for
aging
fuck's
up
sake, I
from
get
Archie.
it now. I get it
Shit,
now.
Let him keep going. Keep going.
But yeah, you kind of get how the overall thing works now. Act 1 is modern Sonic with the boost. Act 2 is adventure style gameplay, but with a different Sonic, basically. And you go through these different universe meeting other iterations of Sonic. You've got the Polyverse. After the Polyverse, and also I just want to note, we're not bringing back old levels. Each universe will have a brand new level made for it. After Polyverse, you get sent to the Cineverse, which is inspired by the Sonic movie. It wouldn't necessarily be exact, but Sonic is now in like a photorealistic world inhabited by humans, and the other Sonic is movie Sonic. So Act 1, modern, Act 2, movie, and then a boss fight with a Jim Carrey-esque Dr. Robotnik. And then you're sent through to the Boomverse, which is the Sonic Boom Island, which is Act 1, which you're speeding through as modern Sonic. And then Act 2, you go to the Eggman Fortress. And I kind of just like the idea of the character dynamics you can have from here on out. Like, Boom Sonic could go up to, like, modern Sonic, like, why are you naked, dude? Put this sports tape on, Jesus. And just, like, have Sonic interacting with the Boom cast, and how, like, the modern Sonic is so righteous, whereas Boom Sonic is a bit more condescending and arrogant. The next one after this is a completely original one called Microverse, which is like a microscopic universe where Sonic is literally a bacteria and Eggman is, like, gigantic. And I thought you could have kind of all kinds of fun with like Sonic in a microscopic world.
So Eggman's a bacteriophage?
No, Eggman is a human being, but they're bacteria.
I was thinking of like a Dr. Mario thing, and I was like, Dr. Eggman, wait.
He's just
7
throwing pills
is-
to crush Sonic.
Zone 7 is the Sketchverse, which is a cel-shaded world, which is in the style of the early Sonic concept art. So the second Sonic is literally Mr. Needlemouse, and the Robotnik is in like his pajamas with his teddy bear and stuff. And it would still be 3D gameplay, but it would all be cel-shaded.
This
Yo,
sounds,
yo.
this sounds like if Sonic Generations and Epic Mickey had a baby, and I don't hate it.
Dude,
It's
if they-
generally inspired by Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, basically.
Well, I was actually
Um,
I was
Fuck,
actually
forgot how much
thinking
I
of
like that game.
that, and I was definitely thinking of that, and like just Spider-Verse in general. Dude, if they do like early concept art Sonic, they gotta bring Madonna back.
Yeah, you could have Madonna in there, actually. And like, speaking of girlfriends, this brings us to Zone 8, Battleverse, a world inspired by the Sad AM and Archie universe. Knothole is dominated by Dr. Robotnik, and Sonic needs to aid the freedom fighters. You get a cutscene where Sonic is seeing like a statue of himself, and the Sonic in this universe is like a grizzled 30-year-old freedom fighter that everyone has assumed dead.
Oh, this
And
is like
basically-
pre-King Sonic.
Yeah, pre-King Sonic, but like he's not going to be king because that shit's stupid.
It
So
sure is.
basically,
It sure is.
Sally notices Sonic is back, and like Sonic's like, "Well, get the fuck off me! You're a girl. I don't touch women and stuff like that."
Wow, Sally,
like-
I only simp for tails.
Roger Craig Smith's Sonic is just like, dude, girls are icky. I'm not into girls and stuff.
Sonic's taken after Batman.
And Tails is the one that explains to Sally that it's a different universe. And you can have all these character interactions with Sally's like, oh, you're just like when I first met you and stuff like that. You're so, naive and shit. And Sonic is even more repulsed by the idea that Sally's a princess because PU authority, disgusting. But when they're all like, Sonic is dead and we have to accept it, he's like, no, we're going to go rescue him. We're going to go take down Dr. Eggman. And like, who the fuck is Dr. Eggman?
Just
Like,
imagine,
oh, right, yeah,
just imagine that Sonic just going, well, I was dead for 6 months, but it turns out I was just being tortured on the death egg. He's probably fine.
You could have him like, let's just say, yeah, they were feeding me tofu chili dogs. And then he gets there to see that Sonic is legitimately being kind of tortured and stuff. It's like, okay, this Robotnik don't fuck around. Let's get out of here. You rescue 30-year-old Ben Affleck grizzled Sonic.
Only interjection there, pup. Why wouldn't he be roboticized?
Well, he would, but like you'd unroboticize him, I guess. It's written by Pontaf. Fuck off.
No, dude, like a Locutus of Borg sort of situation where he's kind of like partly assimilated. It's just like this creepy cyborg.
Yeah, we'll do that, and we can even have modern Sonic be like, "Wow, it took him that long to roboticize."
We
Jesus.
have to Uncle Chuck Sonic.
So anyway, you rescue old Sonic and have a quick skirmish with Dr. Robotnik, which doesn't end up as embarrassing as other Robotnik boss fights do for the old Egghead. And by the end of it, Sonic's like, yeah, no, see you later, Sally, whatever. But then at the last minute, he kind of blushes like, I wonder if my own world has a Sally, so he's low-key simping. And then we go to the second before last of the universes, which is kind of a relief. It's kind of like a light-hearted relief before the final world. It's the Dream Universe, which is like the wackiest world of them all. Scratch and Grounder are present. The level aesthetics are all surreal and stupid. Robotnik is the Pingus version. You could cast Wayne Knight, because if you ever heard Wayne Knight play Zurg in Buzz Lightyear Star Command, he sounds very similar. He sounds very similar to Long John Baldry.
You are absolutely right. That'd be amazing.
So get Wayne Knight playing Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog Robotnik, and this is like the second before last world, before the final world, which isn't a universe, it's the Nexus, which contains all of the different multiverses with converging set pieces. So you'd be literally like running through a level, which is just throwing bits of the other level at you, and like full of different, like you could even see the level start to, pixelate and stuff, just like the Pixelverse. See the polys reducing in front of your very eyes. And these would both be modern Sonic acts, so they're both boosting. And then there's one Sonic left, but then suddenly there's a giant Eggman kaiju with all the different Robotniks from the other universes piloting a section, a bit like the final brute boss from Super Mario Odyssey. But there's just one Sonic standing, and he has to stand alone against the multi-Robotnik kaiju.
Pop, I'm sorry. I have to make the joke. It's just like Power Rangers. The Egazord.
Well, call it the Egazord then. Why not?
Behold, Sonic!
The pun was just destroying me.
My greatest creation, the Eggzord.
Your pitch sounds fun. I'm sorry to interrupt. That pun just destroyed me in my brain.
No, it's cool. Anyway, that's like the final boss of the game. Eggman is trapped in the Nexus. Sonic returns to his world. He eats a chili dog or something. I don't know. And in each universe as well, there is a small hub world akin to like, it's not as big as the Unleashed hub worlds. It's more just like a little locale where you can talk to the characters and just get more of these little character interactions and stuff. But as well as that, you could have bonus stages as well. So like a bit like what they had in Generations. Yeah, so with the exception of that Pixelverse, it's entirely 3D. Yeah, that's really about it, to be honest. So, shut up.
I just realized.
Sounds like all of us really just want to explore all of these crazy fun canons that we've been gifted with.
It would unify. It would unify kind of the canon, like a lot of the ideas. A lot of the ideas have generally been moving in that direction of we want to find different ways of unifying the canon. And I just kind of thought, it was kind of like what you were saying when you were saying about the Sonic Symphony. When Sonic Team really dive deep into the past, as opposed to just being like, here's your green hill, now piss off. Like, it can be really exciting. And I just kind of thought, like, if it's the 30th anniversary game, and I had this idea before Sonic Prime, so fuck off if you want to tell me I'm copying. Basically, I just thought, 20th anniversary, have Sonic Generations. 30th anniversary, you could really completely double down on it, but not rely on the same shit that we had in Sonic Generations. So it's kind of a Shattered Dimensions of Sonic game. But yeah, like, what do you guys think?
That sounds fucking awesome.
I think it sounds like
Thank
something
you.
that could easily be proposed to a Sega team, because I can see, and that's not a knock on it. I can see like you sitting there pitching it to them and going, "This sounds really ambitious," and you go, but the parts people respond positively to are the parts we use for the sequel, and suddenly like Sega's eyes just light up, and they're just like, "Yes, we will do the giant."
Well, it would
experiment.
it would kind of be like a backdoor pilot into potential Sonic universes, like into potentially reincorporating some Archie characters, maybe, or something along those lines. And I'm not even like an Archie or Sad AM fan. I'm just trying to like market research this shit, you know. Like this isn't my ideal Sonic game, but it's something that I think would be a good idea for Sega to do. Like
just imagine.
Yeah.
Just imagine the monkey's paws. Okay, cool. Now we're gonna have one character play with you in the Archieverse, and it's not gonna be Sonic because we're rescuing Sonic, but it's not gonna be Sally because fuck you, you get Anton Nicolet.
I could kind of imagine that maybe like if Sega were to say no to any Archie stuff, you could do inspired characters that are similar. Same could go for Boom. It could be a Boom inspired universe, because I don't believe Sega are willing to touch this with a 50-foot pole. But if you could pay homage,
They're going to touch anything that's going to get them in trouble with Penders. I just don't think they give a shit. Like they
maybe
could win.
Maybe we kill Penders. Maybe we just kill Penders. That's the first step of
He
making
already has
God.
that planned. He literally has his plan to pass on this stuff over to his kids. And
Okay,
shit like
kill
that.
Penders' kids then as well.
Okay, all right. So let's.
I underestimated the petty assholeness of him.
It's pretty well.
Maybe
the whole
Penders'
thing
kids
for
will be
another day.
better. Maybe they'll be more business minded. I don't know.
Well, Sega needs they need to meet them halfway. Is the problem with that entire setup there?
Get Penders a prostitute, he'll be happy.
For fuck's sake. I this is kind of off topic, but I keep thinking about because I keep thinking like, how would I incorporate modern Sonic with Sad AM Sonic? I think I like your idea of like a more grizzled, war-torn Sonic. It is kind of hard to imagine Robotnik not utilizing him as a robot. But the way I would pitch, on the other end, like I think like a lot of like the parallel universes, like the old canon, really is only going to work in like a comic or something like that. Like that's really all Sega would ever do for them. Like, look, we're not going to waste all these resources to bring it into a video game, as much as I would fucking love it. But like just to give some closure to the Sad AM universe or something like that, what I would do is like have modern Sonic pop in there and be like, I could wreck this shit no problem. But I think like if Eggman and Robotnik teamed up and actually captured and roboticized modern Sonic, and Sad AM Sonic was the one that had to take down the more powerful, now roboticized version, just, saves that Sonic, humbles him a little bit, and also, gives a little sense of like closure for that version of the Hedgehog. Be like, he's relevant, he matters, and he's got the stuff he needs to be a hero. Like, don't underestimate him just because he's a little different or a pipsqueak or something like that. I think that'd be a pretty cool story. And then have Sally like give Modern the side eye and make Sad AM Sonic super jealous. And Modern's like, he's just used to that kind of attention. He's like, yeah, hey, what's up, girl? What's up? Because I think what works for Sally for him is more the personality, anything kind of dude he is, more than anything else.
I like the idea that modern Sonic is just low-key an incel.
I do not at all. That's a human being. I don't hate the idea of her going like, ew, Princess is authority.
I just think it's more in line with the game Sonic, though, to be like that. Like he wouldn't want to date anyone, to be honest. But if he was going to date someone, it would be a punk rocker or something. Like
you just have Sonic sitting there. I don't know why I'd go with a princess like you when I could go with Blaze.
Man, there's just like there's a lot of parallels between all these worlds that I think we really could. I think these pitches just go to show. First off, we're all fans of like the entirety of this franchise, and we really would like to see it reincorporated. I know Ian Flynn said it 100 times. Like what he would do is he would just take all these elements and just put it into one world and let that be that. They don't have to see each other all the time. It's not that big of a fucking deal. The Kingdom of Acorn could just be somewhere in the world, and Sonic just says, "Hey, what's up? Cool, bye," and like. And Blaze, she doesn't have to be a different dimension. Silver could just be stuck in Sonic's time. Why
That
not?
said, I think you can have a lot of fun with multiverses, though. Like,
I'm not saying you can't. Not by any stretch of the imagination. Just I don't think it's as hard as Sega themselves or even us as a fan base makes it out to be in terms of making this all a cohesive thing. I don't think it's that big of a deal. And I don't think it's going to take that many resources to canonize things and maybe even bring some of this stuff closure, because I sure as shit think that a lot of fans that there's a lot of stuff is more story focused. SatAM's more story focused. Archie was more story focused. I think those fans deserve a bit of closure.
I just
I think
realized
Zavok fans deserve a bit of closure.
I just realized there's
Sonic
a
Adventure
really
2 remake, but replace Shadow with Zavok.
there's a real good reason we can
Swear to
keep
God.
Silver going forward with no issues. So you know how we know that Silver, how like the timeline in Sonic works, how it's like one timeline. It's not like a multi thing the way that like Dragon Ball Z is. So like when Silver does something in the main timeline, it affects his. What if Silver just keeps coming back to Sonic's timeline because he's fucked with time so much? None of his friends are alive in his world. He has no place anymore.
What if that plays into our crazy shit that all of us were talking about with order and everything else? Sonic can change time. He can fix time by running. Like Little Planet probably had to have some craziness. Like there's got to be all kinds of wonky shit. What if Silver literally can't get home because of Sonic's fucking around in time?
He's just like, I want to go back to my timeline, but like I keep finding myself in places that look like they could be mine, but everybody's dead in
Sonic's
this
like,
one.
no, you stay with us.
I think just the timeline situation, be it Time Stones or Time Eater, I think you could, with a little bit of work, you could put that together and put like a Silver Side comic. That way, Sega doesn't have to be a big baby about making a whole game about it. I would like them to make some of their satellite material more canon, though. I think that's only fair.
Give us
Like
Silver
stories
the
that you
Gardener.
don't really need. Like Silver, or like stories you don't actually need to enjoy the next game. But for like the more hardcore fans, this is where you get the rest of the tale, and that's where we're gonna get our closure. And it's canon with everything else you enjoy. So like more hardcore Silver fans can be like, okay, this is what's going on with him. And the more casual fans are just like, okay, well, here's the Silver Hedgehog with the psychic powers. And we're not super worried about where he was after that shitty 06 game that I wasn't even born for.
If Silver were to get married in the present, he'd have a reason to stay in the present. So like he could marry Sonic.
He could marry.
And
Oh, okay. I was gonna say he could marry Blaze.
no,
but-
no.
You
Blaze
say he could
Blaze
marry
is another
Sonic?
dimension. Yeah, marry. Look, Matt, what is actually wrong with Silver and Sonic being married?
You just got done saying Sonic should be an incel.
As in, like he does. Yeah, he doesn't like women.
I swear to God.
Oh,
That's not what
Yeah,
that
okay.
means.
So
See how
okay.
problematic
He's-
that is? You see
he's
how
gay.
problematic
No,
that is?
he's gay. He's gay, and he has no respect for women. Okay, let's leave it at that.
That's still very problematic, but okay.
Well,
God.
he's not. He's
There have
he
now
is
been
multi-layered.
4 formal meetings as a result of Pop.
But you can have a game where Sonic learns to respect women and call it Sonic feminism.
It's like I sure walked in at the wrong time.
All right. So these super chats then, shall we? So
Oh,
Junkyard
sluts.
Productions, Monkey, donates $20 and says, "Do you guys think it's possible that we could get a Dragon Ball ripoff a la Natsu Unleashed? I got a heavy vibes from the last chapter I read in the IDW comics."
Sonic's been doing Dragon Ball ripoff stuff for years, and I would love if they just leaned more into that these days. I'm
mean,
fine
yeah.
with that.
I don't even think Dragon Ball cares.
Okay, I keep seeing it in the chat, and I just want to address it because this has been a little bit of an irritation for me when people say Sonic's always been shonen or shown in this, shown in that. I think that's literally the one thing Sonic has never copied from Dragon Ball. Shadow, absolutely. He's got a character arc and everything, but Sonic is not driving towards a goal. He's not trying to better himself in any way. He just is, and he's always been that particular way. That is a flat character. Goku
Is a flat
Super is a
character.
different story.
I was about to say Goku's a
So-
flat character.
He's
as
got
well,
the
though.
drive.
So-
He's all about that ambition. He's all about breaking limits and pushing himself beyond, like Naruto or Luffy or fucking Deku. Like they're like, I'm gonna be the ultimate this. Like I have a goal. That's about the story of growth. Like I think that's why Shonen works so well in a teenage demographic, because it is about growth and it is about becoming your final form. And Sonic, ironically enough, being a teenager, Sega in the video games has always depicted him as kind of having everything already figured out. And I think it's about time Sonic did become a bit shonen. I think it's about time we did give him a goal and help him, show him as a teenager. I think it'd be really cool.
So Devon McCann sends us $4.99 and says, "Make the microverse a spinball universe." I want to play that much pinball though. In Sonic.
do.
Anyway,
Oh,
next
Jesus,
one.
my tortoise scared the shit out of me. Just touched my foot.
Wayne is just like pinball. That's my shit right there.
The next one is from
Temple
What does that
Pinball.
the next one is from that Jordo, $5. Says Silver going back in time to kill Sonic, passing Sonic CD, Sonic going to the future. He's just like, that's not him. He's too fat.
That looks like the Iblis trigger. But he's a little too pudgy.
My God.
So,
and then-
uh,
Yeah. I
how's
think
the
is that
weather
all
where
the
you
super
guys
chats?
are?
Just started
think
getting
so.
hot again out here. Just kind of sucks.
There's a heat wave over here too.
Yeah.
You okay,
Oh my
Nick?
God. Just reading the chats. Just for funny. Just funny
Yeah.
shit.
I
Oh,
mean,
man.
I'd be very game to do more of these, because as I've said, I've got like 4 ideas for Sonic games, and I just wanted to do one for this installment. But no, you guys come up with more ideas. I'll come up with more ideas. We'll reconvene. We'll do some more. And
Well, can I offer a little bit of feedback? Because I actually wanted to talk about a particular thing from your pitch specifically.
yeah, go on, you
Um,
crazy monkey. I want to hear it.
Well, the only thing I'm trying to parse out, and the more I think about it, I think I see where you're coming from. Is I don't know if I would put a microverse and SatAM in the same set there. I think they're both trying to do different things. That said, I fucking love game settings where you're a miniature version of something, and I'm always about that with Sonic. I don't give a shit how out of place it is. I love those food levels. You ain't gonna do nothing about it. I fucking love it, and it's hilarious. And
I
it's
agree.
adorable. And I think that'd just be a fun concept. I don't know if it needs to be a dimension hopping thing as much as it would be just a silly ass Eggman thing. Even for a level,
Well-
where he's like, "Fuck you, Sonic miniature Ray."
No, you
Then
know
the
what,
Sonic
though?
fucking-
You know what? That is actually one of my ideas for a game. I'm not going to go too much into it now, but it's called Sonic Toy Box. And Dr. Eggman turns Sonic into an action figure and makes him run through different playsets to kill him.
I'd be about it, man.
One of them
Yeah.
has dinosaurs as well. You'd love it.
Fucking love dinosaurs. You couldn't. Challenge
God.
Sonic spin-off game ideas next. Something a bit out of the box. I would not be against that.
Yeah,
No, I
Sonic
can't use
jumps
Sonic
out of the
Toy
box and punches you in the face.
In the next Sonic game, literally Ken Pontac is a character and he holds hands with Sonic.
It's
That's-
a plug-in life-size pillow of Sonic, and you're rated on how well you make out with it.
Each copy comes signed by Ken Pontac.
Oh my god.
The evil Dalek.
Dalek threw 5 pounds our way. Just let Silver stay in the present and stop bringing him back because future bad. Like Gorillas' rewrite of 06 and let him get together with Blaze. I haven't seen
Let
the
him get
the
together
rewrite
with
there.
Sonic.
I just think if we're gonna use Silver, let's not be so afraid of playing with time travel. And if Prime is gonna go into multiple dimensions, I say let's embrace the chaos. That's just
And
me. Let's see what we
let's-
can do with it.
Not be so afraid of Sonic's homosexuality. That hedgehog is not straight, guys.
We're just
You
gonna
can't date
completely
Tails,
flip
though,
this one now. We're just
because Tails is
okay.
a minor.
How deep are we gonna dig this hole, Pup? How?
You know what? I'm gonna pass you the shovel. I can't be trusted.
I don't know. Sonic can pork whoever he wants. I don't give a shit.
Whoa.
Just think
'cause
though of how like
dog.
Silver could like lift Sonic and just get him over him, and then just let gravity do its thing, just lower him slowly.
But you have to imagine, like how challenging would that have to be with all those quills? Because they've
Thank you all
and
for
glaring
joining us
giant
today
eyeballs, right?
in this
Like just poke those giant
fun-
eyeballs out.
a fun little
We
discussion.
all
No,
gathered
but
here
Sis, you would-
today
no, you
to
would-
join in
you
all
could
It would
we
be like a
matrimony.
Quills
cowgirl
on their
kind of
own.
thing. Sonic would be he would be astride him basically. It'd be like a cowgirl kind of a situation.
Oh my! Thank you
These
all
were
for
our
watching this
concepts.
episode of Sunset City, everyone.
Those
I want
are
the sun to set
ideas.
on me.
Jesus fucking
Yeah.
Christ. Do we want to plug each other before I hit the fuck off button?
Oh, I bet you'd love to plug each other, wouldn't you?
As it turns out, I do happen to have a sponsor called. No, we're not getting into that on this.
I swear to God, he does. He is sponsored by sex toys.
And
Yes!
and a
Is
game.
he actually
I-
sponsored by sex toys?
I am.
Yes!
I have two. I have two
Oh my
sponsors
God.
that sponsor all of my videos. I have Artesian Builds, which I'm not gonna get into the pitch because it's not the time.
Are
They're-
they paying you for
Many
this?
young kids here, don't give them actual fucking advice here. I'm worried we're gonna get sent to jail already. Stop.
This is
Stop.
this is not a kids show, but like,
We know
Tell-
that. I'm just
tell
I don't
me
want
all-
Chris Hansen
Oh
in
tell
my
me-
God.
tell me all about this wonderful website after the stream is over.
Sure. I somehow managed to get two major like recurring sponsorships, and I feel weird for it.
Meeting number 5.
Meeting number
you-
5. This time we're talking about the sex shop.
Did you get sponsored a free dildo? Is the question I want to know.
Actually, I will tell you about that after stream.
Nice, he did. This is way of saying yes.
Oh my God. All right,
Uh,
guys. So you can find us all at our respective YouTube channels. I'm Nick. I run a show called Game Apologist, a channel called Game Apologist. I've been currently marathoning the rest of the Metal Virus Saga and Sonic speed reading. The grand finale of the situation, I just reviewed and not even reviewed, just kind of hyped over for 15 minutes over on my channel this morning. So if you haven't checked it out already, I would sincerely appreciate it. As well as anything else on that channel, because I do a lot of stuff there. Yeah, Suris, how about you?
Things and stuff.
I swear to God.
I'm not plugging myself this time. I feel dirty.
Wayne.
Yeah, I'm still in the middle of my Zelda marathon. I just recently got up a quick review of Skyward Sword HD, and I'm working on a review of A Link to the Past. My last big review was Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. I'm actually really proud of that video, and I had a lot of fun working on it, and I definitely recommend checking that out. Most of my stuff you can just find through Wayne is Boss on YouTube, and if you ever want to watch me just talk about stupid stuff on Twitter, that's also what I am on there.
Pup, and I get Sir. We're gonna get back to you because you're gonna plug something, you fucker.
Oh, he's
Why
got to
would
plug
you-
something.
Oh my God! Why?
Just put it in my backside, Suris. Get that out of there.
God damn it! Pup, fucking plug yourself.
Okay, can you pass it here then? All right, thank you. Oh God, fuck, ouch. Okay, right. I think I just ripped something. Anyways, yeah, just check out my shit, okay? Okay, right, cool. So yeah, it's warm in here.
Suris is at Suris the Skeptic on YouTube. He's on Neko Suris on his gaming channel. Go check both of them out. He's good, I guess. I don't fucking know. We're all on Twitter. We're all on Twitch. Some of us are. I don't know. That's us. You know where to find us.
Also,
Okay.
Trey is here. Trey.
I'm literally gonna go take a shower now.